low. I mean, I don't really have a great lesson to teach you from that other than to say, be more strategic in your stop placement. I think that just comes with time. I never like to place my stop, Thomas, at or really near the volume weighted average price, because we always get breaches of VWAP. At least that's been my observation. So I like to give it either a price action low or just put it like 5-6 pennies, really depending on the nature of the stock and how it's moving below the volume weighted average price, to avoid those exact moves there. But I hope you had, not a good experience, a lesson learned, so to speak, from that. I hope you print up multiple storms going through. Shout out to Thomas Kondo. Hangry Wife, the lesson is a greater gap for stop loss in a smaller position. That could be, brother, but I mean, a lot of people like to trade with larger positions, so there is ways to do that, as I'm sure you know. Yeah, it's a bit of a tougher, obviously, endeavor. All right, Joey, it is 201.25.
Yeah.
Here we go, though. I just want to point out TGE. It's going back into 180 again, guys. So this one's going to be in focus, I think, for the small cap traders going into the afternoon. Maybe we see it hit 2 at some point in the day. You want to send them off? Or?
Yeah. By all means, man. I hope everyone's had a fantastic session, man. It's the start of the month, so don't get too carried away with your losses or anything along those lines, because we have plenty of sessions ahead of us, and there's a lot going on. We're still in the thick of earnings season, so we like that, guys. Hope everyone has a fantastic day. Hit the gym. Do what you're supposed to do. Don't be lazy. Stay disciplined. Let's rock and roll.
Good night, guys.
I want to let you guys know here, Fed's Cook just started speaking, so be aware we do have some Fed talk going to be on watch. He just started speaking here at 2 p.m. saying that tariffs are still driving up pressures and the labor market is still solid, but they are monitoring the labor market for signs of trouble. She also added the tariffs are continuing to add to price pressures. So kind of more cautious commentary coming from Fed's Cook, though at its face, it's certainly not as hawkish as some of the comments that we had from Fed's Bostic and Hammock last week, or even from Fed's Goolsbee earlier today. Over to Sean and Neil for the afternoon show.
Thanks a lot, Fed Talk. Lose,
Fed.
I know, like lose VWAP on the moment.
Yesterday was Fed.
There. Boo to the Fed.
Like the long night thing.
Yeah, we'll see. I mean, sometimes it just spooks the market out of the uptrend for temporarily. Nvidia is pulling back into the volume weighted average price. At least it could in a couple of seconds, minutes, whatever. Nvidia up 3%. You got obviously the OpenAI news, Amazon flying, although it just also lost the volume weighted average price. It's holding up 4%. You get Palantir earnings after the bell, and then apparently HIMS and hers as well. Which means we'll talk about Palantir for half the show, the aftermarket show, and HIMS and hers for about 4 or 5 minutes.
Yeah.
And on top of that, Sean and I have a bet.
Oh yeah, that's right. We got to settle
because
it's November.
It's Movember, and I'm like 99% sure that Sean has done a Movember mustache before. So it's just for coffees, for fun.
No, we're buying each other the protein. Coffee.
Yeah, that's right, the protein coffee, because we both want to try it.
Yes, so we're gonna buy the protein coffee from Starbucks. There's at McDonald's. It's at Tim Hortons, but we'll do Starbucks.
Well, my poppy's gonna.
And so yeah, it's basically like a $5 bet. So we're gonna figure out if I've ever done it before. I'm gonna ask.
We gotta ask. Yeah, but I have to ask Marissa.
I have no idea if I've done it before. Now, I used to have the full beard and the thing, like, so I don't know. I don't know if I've ever specifically done it.
But it has to be that you just only, like, if you already had one, it's not the same thing. You had to have grown.
I think you should try to grow one from Movember right now. Who wants to see Neil? We should maybe do a chat. Can we do that? Can we do a poll? Who wants to see Neil with a mustache?
We better raise some real money for charity.
It's for men's health.
Like
what is it for Movember?
No, usually it's
men's health, isn't it, or mental health, or
isn't it just men's health?
Men's. I don't know.
Oh my goodness.
I don't know. Well, it doesn't. You know.
Not
whatever.
shame.
We could just raise money. I mean, we don't have to actually do a.
Yeah, why not?
I'm gonna find out. I think
it's for prostate cancer.
Yeah. Oh, is it okay? Yeah. I mean, it's for anything. It's pretty cool though. Anyways.
Here, let's talk about Palantir to change.
Yeah, I still have. I mean, written down here early on. I mean, we've been talking about. I just put in the chat Palantir with a king thing beside it. Look, I mean, we already put Trump. There's something happening with Trump right now. It's in my ear, but it's getting to be pretty.
Nvidia just
something about Nvidia with Trump is happening right now.
I couldn't hear it.
Okay, we'll get it in a second. I don't hear it either right now. We'll get that in a second. But okay, right now it is making a move to the downside. No, but Palantir today, look, ahead of earnings. This has nothing to do with earnings. I mean, we like Palantir. We found a 202 level. Nice move to the high side right there. As soon as we get it, as soon as we get the details about this China Palantir possible news right here, sorry, China and Nvidia news. I think it was just that. Yeah, okay. Adara's already on to something right now. So, Miss Adara, what you got for us, homie?
It looks like a Wall Street Journal report, guys. According to this report, Trump's advisors were nearly unified in their opposition to a request from Nvidia CEO Jensen Huang to allow sales of new advanced AI chips to China. So again, it sounds like Trump's advisors do not want to allow CEO Jensen Huang of Nvidia and his company to sell their advanced chips in China. There is nothing new to this story that we weren't already aware of, but either way, it is worth noting it sounds like, once again, going to be some opposition here for Nvidia to sell their chips, or specifically their advanced AI chips, to China. Again, not new information. Given that, we even had Trump yesterday during his interview saying that they weren't really interested in letting China have these advanced chips. So again, that's the deal with this most recent drop on NVDA. Back to you.
Yeah, I mean, I would consider that a buying opportunity, to be honest with you. Like, if Trump's advisors are disagreeing with Trump, then they're probably no longer going to be his advisors.
Yeah, like who, though?
Yeah, like, so it's a Wall Street Journal, right? So, I mean, I think it'll probably come out that, yeah, it's probably not advised, I mean, to give access to China to the top chips that are built here in the United States. I mean, I think that was the whole point of the whole NVIDIA sort of slowing down their role there with China and what kind of Blackwell versus, I forget what the earlier models were called there. You know, but that's going to be the free market deciding eventually what winds up happening. I mean, Trump's going to put down part of these restrictions is for the tariff negotiations and whatnot. Like, I thought over the weekend we kind of got that China deal that some were looking for, and it doesn't sound today with that story like that's a very good news. But I mean, Nvidia's still up 3%, still at and near enough to all-time highs. Its past all-time high was 212.19. We came within like $1 of that here today, and you're still up 3%, and it's still holding pretty good. And if anything, man, it just faded back into VWAP, which is what the market did. So for me, that's, I'm going to say it. It's, to me, it's a nothing burger, that story for right now. When Trump comes out and maybe changes his mind and we can have a different discussion about certainties, I'm rather going to deal with certainties rather than just guessing that some sort of a Wall Street Journal dude has come with some fire here. So I'm just going to wait on that story, see if it can get a bit more legs. But for right now, yeah, AMD, China. I mean, look at FXI today. You know, there's lots of opportunities. We said that Alibaba was down here 168 or so. There's going to be an opportunity for that. That might be back up now. I didn't even see this rally back in FXI. But yeah, China, this is the Chinese big cap market, still relatively holding up relatively well against its highs. So yeah, I think you got to be pretty happy overall if you are, you know, a trader of these Chinese markets in general over the last couple of days. So let's see if they can continue to hold strength here, these Chinese names. Yeah, catching some strays here on that push down in Nvidia, like a name like Micron, just a slight rollover. Micron actually up 5%, so pretty strong in its own right. They're getting not as bad, but a little bit of a rollover happening there. It's a key point for the future as well, because you were just, come on, Q's. Good, okay, good. You were just breaking VWAP as well, so the market really was trying to bounce off the volume weighted average price. We'll need to see a couple of these chip names bounce before looking for any dip by longs. I might go back over to the Bitcoin short, because Bitcoin also lost VWAP just there. Like, Bitcoin had bounced nicely off the lows, trend up, and now it just lost the volume weighted average price. So I like this one short anyways. I might go over to IBIT, see if we can't short the volume weighted average price this afternoon. Gives me a tight stop exit point here. See if it consolidates, maybe get something at the half, 60.5, 60.55 or so, and look for this to work its way back to said downside. We're going to get the rundown whenever we have Sharif ready and locked and loaded to go. And it's really just this NVIDIA story that currently is moving things, if you want to call it a story. I saw one name attributed. It said Rubio and others. So if you're looking for because my first thing was like, who? You could say advisors, but unless it's like all of his top Yeah, this one says, right? Trump's officials torpedo NVIDIA's push.
Like torpedo, ooh. Torpedo.
I don't know. The only torpedoes you're worried about is the ones that are guided, self-guided by Palantir.
I saw a torpedo. Oh, so never. I saw there was like, is it Netflix?
Torpedo?
No,
Yeah,
Netflix had this movie, which was like a pretty bad knockoff of like the movie Failsafe. Like it was one of those like
I've never seen
nuclear.
it. I don't even know what the first.
I don't know. It had like Rebecca Ferguson, the girl from the new Mission Impossibles. It was like pretty cool. The whole about like, like nuclear strike.
Okay,
and
okay.
How they would respond. What's it?
Sharknado?
What did you say? No, but it wasn't one of those.
Just leave Joe to
But it was
distract
it was
himself
such a
over there.
complete knockoff of Failsafe, which is a really, 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 really good film. I was disappointed, but anyways, let's go to the desk. I believe Sharif is ready.
Maybe Palantir's on this.
Oh yeah, Room Full of Dynamite, what it was called.
Ah, okay.
House of
Jesus.
Welcome to the Afternoon Rundown, everyone. The show where you decide what we talk about every afternoon. The big boys are locked, they're loaded, and they're ready to look at the tickers as decided by you. But the only way to get those tickers right there is to get into the chat, of course, and vote for your favorite ticker every day. It's got to be preceded, though, by that $sign. Throw in that $sign, followed by whatever ticker your heart so desires. Let's look, though, at all four major averages. 2 are green, 2 are red. The NQ leading the way here, up 0.4, above 26,100, holding on but barely. The ES below 6,900 goes again, but green on the day, most notably up 0.15. The Dow down 0.5% as it loses 47,500, and the Russell 2000, the worst performing major average of the day, down below 2,500 again, down 0.6% on the day. Let's look, though, at Tesla, which is the first name as decided by you guys, above 465, give or take 2% on the day. Despite these bad headlines, guys, we continue to see a sharp sales decline in Europe, all across Europe. By way of example, of course, Sweden. In Sweden, Tesla registered only 133 new vehicles in the month of October. That's nearly an 89% drop year over year. Sales plunged also again in Norway, 50.2% and 47.8% in the Netherlands. You feel, though, that this all might be priced in, guys, because we're about 2% green on the day.
So I kind of thought we'd go with Nvidia, but look, Tesla was a beast. Now all of a sudden it's like just downtrending. It literally lost support like just a couple of minutes ago, going back into the prior high. And I'll be disappointed not to have stuck with the short. It was essentially just a parabolic move up. I went to fade it and stopped fading it when it got to just about 470. And now 470 is resistance. You're gonna lose. This 15-minute candle looks like it's losing the prior highs here at 466. So Tesla is, I don't want to say it's stuck in a range because it's been trending up off 420. Right? Like the consolidation is great off 410.20, but it cannot seem to break out that 480 for that next leg higher. Every time we push, there's a little bit of a dip back. However, that overall trend is up. So until proven otherwise, Tesla's kind of in this, when it has a rough day or two, or maybe even just one rough day, look for the buy the next day. And when it has a big day, look for it to pull back and then maybe give you the next buy. So I don't think I'm gonna until it does something different, I almost don't love it for like 2 days in a row up. You know, the second day I'll look for consolidation or dips, and after a down day or two, I'll look for some kind of a bid on Tesla. And I think that's a good way to approach it, at least for now. It doesn't really have, it's got a couple of green days there. It's like, and then a couple red, and then a couple green. And that seems like the pattern that Tesla's in until it can really break away from this 420 or from this 480 with any juice. Love Tesla. I like it up here. I like it in the long term. I think, there's going to be a lot that say if the market pulls back, well, that's going to be trouble for Tesla. But they always say that. If you believe in robotaxi, if you believe in, I think robotics is going to be a big deal, then I think this is a company that's fine. But if I had not trimmed anything here in the 420 to 460 range, like if you'd cover nothing from any dip buys here, then I think that's a little bit too far. I have, so I think it's a hold.
All right, I think for today, obviously, if we're going to talk about long term, then yeah, I really like Tesla. I haven't sold any Tesla in years and years and years, I feel like. But it doesn't mean that that's the right decision. For right now, I think you're underneath VWAP, you're underneath the 20, you're underneath, so right now, all the lines for me are up top, and that to me spells short. So I would say the market's kind of getting like a short feeling here into the afternoon. So I know I'm long Palantir, but I kind of want to stay there. I only have 5% left of that position, so it's not a thing. But this break is something I think. So we got 465. We wicked down to the 464.50. What about just a break of 464 if we can do that? I know you'll run into what happened here at about 945, but that should, I mean, if you're right, you're going to get a big one. If you're wrong, I mean, I think you can even get out even at 465, like give yourself 30, 40 cents or maybe $1 worth of a break on that 464 break and see if it does creep back up and then punch yourself out for the $1. I mean, we sat here on Friday and took, I don't even know what it was at the end of the day there. I think we wound up getting out right here at 453 or so on a 450 break. And then it wound up closing the day at 457, 458. So we left like $2 or $3 for sure on the table there at the end of the day on Tesla when it really went. So just right here, really going early when all the money is there, doing nothing in the middle of the day except for following the market to the downside, and now potentially looking to break higher. We'd have to get above, for me to go long though, we basically got to get above this 470. Like I'm gonna try to use some of these lines as my guide, but it's not my number one trade. It's not on the radar or anything like that. Just looking at the chart, I would say the short looks better to me. And then you want to give it a couple bucks to VWAP. But like, see, now it's coming right back up. Like, look at that. Like we were just talking about 465. It just went $2 in 4 minutes.
The market.
So, yeah, the market is on one a little bit right now again. Sorry, not the normal market, but Tesla's on one as the stock market tries to figure itself out. So I'd rather leave this alone, not giving me like my sort of feel of, hey, if I'm thinking one way, the stock's thinking the other. So I'm going to back away right now. I think the short in the market is a better place. So I'm going to leave Tesla alone until it breaks this 464.50 right into there. So 464.50 I think is a short for Tesla. Hopefully I don't forget to do it.
SOFI, guys, up 3%. Good day for SoFi today. There was this headline, I don't really see much for SoFi, other than to say that several states are looking at suing the Trump administration over a rule limiting the student loan forgiveness for public servants, being led here by New York Attorney General Letitia James, and more than a dozen other state attorney generals are suing the Trump administration for rules that the Department of Education released last week about certain groups that are prohibited from taking this on. So we know SoFi's connection, of course, with student loan forgiveness and the repayment at low rates. So trading up 3%.
SoFi's done it. It's now closed and opened on the monthly over that prior monthly high. So the next leg seems like it's in to me. And bullish today. Obviously, didn't really have it on the radar. Shoot, would have been a good reversion twice. But that said, the $30 level looks good. The volume weighted average price here probably going to need to hold up because like all of the goodwill that it has for this little rounded bottom the last couple of days is pretty invalidated if it closes underneath 30 bucks. So I think that's the key close price to think long for this. Again, I like SoFi. I think this is one that if you don't own it, it's not a horrible place to even be buying when you look at that monthly chart, understanding what Robinhood did on a very, very similar setup. Like I just look at, like I've been looking at Hood, and when Hood did the same kind of a setup, kind of gave you this close above, that was the next month, consolidated for a bit, and then a bit of a jump to the upside there. So it's a pretty simple upward trend on SoFi. If we dip, the 50 period also looks pretty good on SoFi. I don't know about this afternoon for anything than a possible test of VWAP. Like if anything, like I would argue, like you had this trend break, so let it maybe work its way down into VWAP, which was some morning resistance, and then look for a bounce.
Yeah, I mean, we averaged up into SoFi around 25, 26 bucks. Pretty happy, obviously, with that trade. But yeah, I don't know, like up 3%. We looked at it earlier, and we were sort of talking about that it has these moves. Remember we were saying that it'll make a move down and then starts to sort of drift up throughout the day. I mean, that's exactly what happened. And now I would just say, look, let's just reload this if it comes to 30 bucks and give it a shot, right? Like if this name can come down 40 cents here into $30 and teen change, something like that, into around here, then I think that's a long for SoFi. So, I mean, really working out. The trajectory seems higher. We're already through earnings. Generally, I mean, I don't know. I'd have to go and cherry pick some of the earnings dates. But what I remember is a lot of the times we sort of bump up into earnings, we make some new highs, and then we start to fade out off of those earnings plays. But that's not happening at all. I mean, SoFi is continuously holding some of those levels. We had just bounced last week or 2 weeks ago off the 50 period again, and we're still well a ways from it. So I would still say SoFi's upside there. And with the rest of the banks just starting to still rock and roll, then I mean, 310 on JP Morgan. And I know it's not huge move here or anything like that, but we're still near the top for JP Morgan, and I think it's going to hold out. XLF in the banking sector as well. This is the ETF that holds them all. They're still poised to have a good run here as well. So XLF trying to hold out, and I mean, until these bank names really lose themselves, I'm long. The only one that's been a disappointment obviously is Webull, as that comes back into $10 again. So trying to decide what to do here, but if you like sort of the app action, then Webull's just fallen 50% in 3 weeks, right? This was $15, now it's down to 10. So I think you got to like Webull at these prices as well, especially if you like some SoFi and Robinhood. So yeah, Webull, you know, to be discussed for sure. Back over to Sharif.
Nvidia, oh no.
All right, guys. Nvidia is next and having a great day today, up 2 3/4%. Multiple headlines. Let's start with the ones connected with President Trump. So Trump officials apparently torpedoed, according to the article by the Wall Street Journal, Nvidia's push to export AI chips to China. Separately, we know that top Trump aides actually opposed the exports of Nvidia's Blackwell chips to China, reports the Wall Street Journal. And then Jensen Huang, of course, for his part, he was lobbying to maintain access to the Chinese market. We'll see how that all goes. And then there is, of course, the tie-up between AWS and OpenAI, which announced a $38 billion strategic partnerships using, of course, Nvidia's chips.
Yeah, Nvidia might round trip from the morning here, it looks like.
Ooh.
So it was support from Thursday and Friday's tops at about like 207 to like 207.5. And I guess that's where we look for support this afternoon, given that's a pretty big, it would have already broken the upward trend. So the all-time high got tested and not broken today on what was a good start with the UAE news. And now all of a sudden you're going to press into this low. I'd look for a bounce. I mean, yeah, it was a long consolidation off of 207 this morning. So I would suspect that you can get a potential bounce there. It's just at least looking for that momentum. But it's pretty heavily to the downside with this new President Trump advisor story, which seems to be kiboshing the stock. Maybe give it another 50 cents to $1, and then I'll start looking for a bounce play here on Nvidia. But let's be real. Like, it's consolidating off of, you know, an all-time high break. So if it's going sideways and bull flagging with an all-time high, you know, this kind of a dip that doesn't break 200 is fine. Structure of the stock is fine until you break 200 at a bare minimum, and even then it's not that bad because you'd have 10% to the 50-period moving average. Like think about that, how strong that is, right? Like when you can, from the highs, you could pull back almost $30. You know, like 12, 13%, and still be at the 50-period moving average. That's Nvidia, because people like buying Nvidia. And I actually sold some more AMD today because I decided I did want to buy AbbVie. I was like, well, what am I going to sell to buy AbbVie? And I decided to sell some more Nvidia, or AMD. I don't want to sell any Nvidia, but I sold some AMD to pick up some AbbVie. I'm already a diversified type of person, but I wanted to diversify a little bit more.
All right, just quickly here. I was just going to say, and it just triggered now. Break of 206 there on Palantir. We'll get a half. So we just have a little baby left here, and we'll wait to see. We don't want to throw it out with the bathwater, but a break of 204.50. I mean, that would get me out. But we're already like on the way up. We are emptying it out. We only had 5% left. We have 2% now left of Palantir. Look, this is why. I mean, I talked about this with Sharif last week. And we talked about the moat and how big it is, and we had a little bit of a discussion there. He thought that this was a name that could give it up, but for me, I last bought it exactly where Neil was saying they're down at 175. We talked about that, and it's like shit or get off the pot. You either like the stock or you don't. I like the stock, so I buy it. It doesn't have to drop 30% for me to say I like it again. I don't think we have to buy it up here. I mean, we haven't even reported yet, so we're going to wait for the end of the month here to get that Nvidia report to come through, and then when they do, then we'll be able to judge it from there. I don't expect it to be a huge move, give or take, on that report. But hey, look, I mean, this is going to be directly in the line of sight of Trade Talk. So even with this deal with China, we're still getting Nvidia news today. So up 3%, still continues to work. I don't have any problems holding this stock. It's one of the best ones in the portfolio and one of the biggest names now, and I'm fine keeping it that way. Nvidia, it's a $5 trillion name for a reason. This name will continue to work. I want to buy more dips on Nvidia, so congratulations to everybody that's been holding that strong and not trading out of it. I went back and forth with AMD today, so I went long, and then we hit the short, and AMD only up 0.6 versus that Nvidia 2.6 now, was up almost 4% at one point. So I still like AMD, but it's at its highs as well. So yeah, just everything in the space is working. Look at SMH. SMH today was near, if not at, all-time highs. Again, for SMH, we'll have to call it up here. I mean, obviously, this is going to have Broadcom associated with it as well. And there it is. So the whole space just continues to work. So I think you got to like these names in the chip space. Even Intel, I saw today, was starting to make some moves as well, nearing $40. I still think that $40 is a good level for Intel, how this one's ran as well. So there's just lots of opportunity. I would still say stay long with Nvidia and maybe wait a couple minutes for our next name. We can get some lower lows in that one. I'm looking at 6 to 620, but it's Meta. Let's go get the story.
All right, guys, META, another bad day for Meta as it continues to bleed after the earnings report where they basically announced more CapEx than the market was willing to stomach. In any event, Accountability Research, guys, first I'm hearing of them. They upgraded Meta to buy from a previous hold, and they moved the price target up to $855. I don't have the previous price target, though. Down today, though, another 0.62%.
Yeah, like, you know, it was a quiet day for Meta, but that meant bad because resuming what it's doing since earnings has Meta fallen to the downside. And, you know, regardless of what you think about, or any of us think about Meta positively, it's still looking for that earnings low. You know, it broke the 200-period moving average. There was a bit of a downtrend from the highs that also ended up breaking down on earnings, unfortunately. So you don't really have much of anything till you get to the quarters, like 6 quarter, and then from there, maybe a 580. But the whole 3-day rule, like, to me, this resets because if it had held 650 today, or at least that Friday bottom, and we closed higher, then I'd be looking to pick it up post earnings on Tuesday. But it's still looking like it's searching for a low here, unfortunately. So yeah, it's a downward trend until it breaks it. The first step would at least be holding a bit of a double bottom since earnings. With that said, if you continue that trend, I think, you know, at a forward basis, it's now the cheapest of the Mag 7 names. So, you know, that's only going to get better if it's down at 620. But until we find some other kind of bottom, that's the only level, like 6 quarter. I'll call it 6 quarter. I might stink bid 22.22 in this case, but I'd rather it do like a nice rounded bottom here and then be able to buy it back in at that 650 level. But for now, Meta is just a short till it's not. And you've got a little bit of room. Maybe you get to that 20 this week. I'd prefer if it didn't.
All right, so look, I still own some Meta, but I'm not willing to buy anything at this valuation, not yet. 644, I mean, we talked about where its PEs. It's been in the teens before. We'll see if we can get back into there. I don't think their quarter was that bad, but again, Meta gets beat up a little bit because of what Zuckerberg has done in the past and spent too much, you know, with the metaverse. And I mean, Amazon raised CapEx, so did Meta, and it's like one's getting hit. And again, I don't think the glasses are a very good idea, but that's just me. I mean, they might be the next thing that everybody's wearing. I highly doubt it. But we'll sort of have to wait for Meta. I mean, I keep saying, like, every time someone's born, they get a new customer, and I do believe in that. And there was nothing wrong with their revenues. There was really nothing wrong with the quarter at all, but I'm not the one deciding that. The market is. So right now, 1, 2, 3, 4, you know, big four days in a row, basically getting to the downside here. I don't see it stopping. I'd actually rather buy it breaking through 680 than trying to figure out where this name does come in. I mean, if we think that Nvidia is trying to fall back in and maybe the market's getting a little toppy now after some of those earnings, maybe it is time to look in other places and not look directly at Meta. It's had such a huge move. And remember, these moves can just get started. Like right here, this was 740 down to 470. You know, so like that's just one little move there that happened back in April. That's not even like what kind of memory do we have? That's February. So we're going back now just 8 months, you know, that we've already seen this kind of a move down, right? And then even before that, this is 531 down to 420. So that lost $100 right there that you can barely even tell. And that was in April to basically, yeah, the beginning of April to middle April, lost 100. So the fact that right now we're losing like that 150, I still think there's more to go. So yeah, we'll have to wait for Meta, but I'm willing to be patient on it. I still own a lot of this company.
And everybody, each year, 3.8 million concussions are reported in the U.S., yet there is still no FDA-approved treatment. NYSE-listed Origenics, OGEN, is changing that with its first-in-class intranasal drug designed for rapid brain access, with the concussion treatment market projected to reach $8.9 billion by 2027. Origenics is uniquely positioned to lead the way. Learn more and schedule a meeting today. You can scan the QR code on screen, check the link in the description. Shout out to them. And, well, let's talk about something which we'll probably discuss. We'll discuss it this afternoon. Then we'll discuss it again at, I think, 4:05 when the earnings come out, and then probably for the second half of the recap show. And that's Palantir.
Yep, I think those are the exact times, Neil. Palantir, another all-time high today, moving in at 207.46 and holding well above 200. Guys, this bad boy reports after the bell today, and here's what we're expecting. We're expecting a move of plus or minus 10.1%. That is the expected move, with a prohibitively large options volume, about 608,000. Just to give you by way of example, the previous move here was a plus 4.1% on the last earnings date. And the conference call, if you want to hear Alex Skarp and company, starts at 5 o'clock, boys.
I definitely think that's a can't miss.
Alex Skarp and company.
That's a can't miss conference call for sure. Alex Skarp is very, very, you know, yeah, exactly, dramatic and entertaining and very, very convincing with his points.
He has flair.
Yeah, he's the proper CEO, I think. You know, founder, right? I mean, whenever you get companies that have founders as their CEOs, we talked about Jensen, we talked about Lisa Su, we talked about Elon Musk. You know, there's not actually that many out there, and you can see that all the companies that are doing those, you know, that have the founders behind them are sometimes can do quite well.
Better explosive growth is the way to think about it.
Yeah, so look, I mean, today we wrote down Palantir right here on the note. I mean, I hope some of you got it. You can get it. It's free stuff, man, every single day at Trader TV, Sean. I wrote, oh, there's Palantir. Thanks to Dara. Dara put out some great graphics, so I retweeted that one. But yeah, there it is on the sticky notes. Your number one trade, man, ahead of earnings here tonight. Dropping on market weakness, we want is an opportunity. So we wanted to see if that happens, and that happened. So this is exactly what happened, man. The market got weak. Palantir fell right in. We took advantage of it, and now it's an absolute monster. So I was getting out right there at that 206 break, past highs. We did a great job trying to get some in early. Nice move in. We did get stopped out when it broke 202 the first time. Bought it right back, so it was actually great that wound up happening because we were able to put more shares on. We bought it back twice, and then just upside, man. My best out is 207. Let's hold this last 2% and see if it wants to go upside. But great PE for expansion, but not great for value. It's probably going to get hit tonight. That 10% move, like if I come in tomorrow and this thing's at 230, like I don't even know, like that would be like, I don't know what I'm going to do. But at the end of the day, I could also see this being down that 10%, right? I mean,
do the sea walk.
They could, yeah, we'll do some crip walking or something. If I'll learn to do that. I mean, if this gets to 230,
it's not that hard to.
If this gets to 230, man, I may just put an offer in and just take Trader TV Live private. But yeah, right now, you know, 206. I really like Palantir here, and it's going to be an exciting report. Like, I recently got something out just around $200. I think it might have been 198 as we just kept on bouncing off of that a little bit there. But yeah, I'm still long this Palantir and don't have any plans of. Remember my hedge fund costume when we had the Palantir hat on. So, but I am still getting out if this breaks view up with the last 2%. So if that breaks through 205, we're out. That stop's already in. Trump's favorite Fed member Cook now speaking for the last 20 minutes, but.
Nothing
anyways,
crazy.
Yeah, the futures aren't doing too much on anything there. But Palantir should be fun tonight.
She's talking about hiring slowing down, and the trajectory of the federal debt changes. She hopes the trajectory of the federal debt is changing in the near future. Yay, talking about government spending. That's always an interesting one. You know, the last time well, it's already on the chart, so I can't really ask that question anymore because then we just count. I was going to say, you know, the last time Palantir had a red month, but now you could literally just count 8 months back, unfortunately. I was going to say that, and then I was going to show the chart, and people could have guessed. But it actually did 9 in a row, then red month, and now 8. This would be the 8th month, so technically speaking, they could have this 8th one, and then the end of the year could be the down. That said, I believe it's due for some kind of a red month. I think post-earnings kind of gives it that chance to. What's interesting about it, the red month was a buying opportunity, but it actually like really rinsed down. But unfortunately, that's like the April low, so it's a bit skewed. So you get the April low to now is 3.5 times. A dip to the prior high is way too far out. Like it wouldn't be crazy if this got to 160, and then that would be like the buying spot, just from a structural standpoint. As far as tonight goes, like going into earnings, I don't ever really like trading stuff in the last hour that's going to report. You could do worse than playing it to VWAP. It's got the standard trend up, break trend, and then trend down into the volume weighted average price, where usually that's the place that I would look for some kind of a bounce. That's about the only thing I would look for. If I wanted to short, then would have been shorting it there. I think that's where you probably exited on the trend break. If I wanted to short it, that's what I would be shorting. The other thing worth looking at here, just on complete sympathy, I took a shot on a breakout in Lumen today. Lumen, of course, relevant because they got a Palantir deal and went ham. It tried to break out, failed that breakout. If Palantir pulls back tonight, there's going to be the whole, oh, this is the turn for Palantir, short Palantir. I actually think undercover as a day trade, this might be as good, if not better, if Palantir has a bad day. Because this is what Lumen did because of a deal with Palantir. If Palantir puts in some kind of a top, this just failed the top today, up 8.5%. This could be a nice pullback play, but I'll have to wait until Palantir has their earnings to make some kind of a play. It'll be like a day trade tomorrow kind of thing. One way or another, I think Lumen's a trade tomorrow. It's just, you know, I'll let Palantir be the guide as to which direction I think.
Okay, Pfizer trying to go. You see some people want to talk about Pfizer, want to talk about some Novo Nordisk.
Well, they report this week.
Yeah, we also had NVO is trying to break right now. I just noticed there's some sort of a VWAP situation here on Novo Nordisk. So there it goes, bounces off VWAP, trying to break higher, and it looks like it does want to do that up through that $50 mark. So here we go again, man. NVO, nice move here, back in. You know, it's looking pretty good, pretty clean. May have found a little bit of a bottom there on Novo Nordisk. I think it's a good spot. I think these GLP-1, you know, kind of wonder drugs, there's going to be more discussion with these about what else they're able to do as far as, you know, diseases and things like that, and trying to help out with cravings on both sides of it, alcohol, whatever. So I'm interested to see if that can keep on going. We did see a nice move upside also for Eli Lilly. What in the... Yeah, I get some little John going on here. I did not see that today. Up 4%, making my sell on Google a little bit better because we did get into Eli Lilly that day. But yeah, nice move up there for Eli Lilly. 900. Okay, I like that one, man. I was like, hey, the next time we get back up here, we should be thinking about getting out of something. So I think that's probably what I'm going to do here. If we can bump the same way we've done in the last, like this 4 days ago was 815, right? Now you're at 9 and trying to get into this 930. I think 930 is worth putting an offer in. So get out at maybe that 10% again, just to, again, capture some profit so that when you do have moves down on names like DraftKings or Webull or something like that you're thinking about, then you can say, you know what, I got out of this one for a nice little runner. Let me lose my money in DraftKings and then put it into that stock. But for right now, Eli Lilly continues to work. And I mean, I'm still a big fan, and I've been sort of pumping the XBI for years. So I really, you know, I just thought, forget about AI. I think AI helps biotech, but just biotech, like we're getting older every day, you know.
I'm getting young.
Yeah, I know. Maybe some people are getting younger,
I found that.
But I'm definitely getting older. But the population,
Oh, of course.
yeah,
Nobody's
and
having
it's
kids.
just like people are living longer, man. So some of these biotech names, you know, they're going to start to go, and they already are. But that's a nice little pullback today, down 3% for XBI. So I would say pay attention into there. Like Neil was mentioning, I've only owned AbbVie, Eli Lilly. I definitely am into some Pfizer. I'll have to.
I traded Pfizer.
I need to really go over my
during
account again.
Well, I shouldn't say I traded it because I guess it was the hold was actually pretty decently long. But I'm actually considering maybe it's worth getting back into. But on the point of like selling some things to put some stuff where you think you might get a turn. Remember, now is the third consecutive month that Lululemon has bounced off the 200 period moving average. So Lou is trying to make the bounce. I like it here. And look, obviously, you know, no one calling a bottom, whatever. It's a line on a chart, but the way I see it, this has confirmed that hold. Certainly, I think if it does another month, maybe with a green month, I think that's a even better ad, but it's time to start nibbling in this one as well. We were just talking about Eli Lilly for a split second, but we were also thinking about things that you would like dip by. I mean, the daily chart, like this is what it is. From like a swing trading perspective, it would probably need to break out a little bit over the 50 period moving average. But speaking of breaking out, as the market goes lower, I mean slightly, this Nvidia thing seems to have really taken the air out of the bounce that was coming off the lows today. Because it seemed like, I don't know, I'll get to Bitcoin in a second. It seemed as if we were having one of those dip overnight, you know, go right into overnight support, kind of hold on to green, and then just solid rallies up. Like Nvidia was going back to the top, like everything seemed like we were trending back to the highs, and then you would wait to maybe short the top. But unfortunately, it was this Trump advisor story which seems to be taking us underneath. But at the same time, Bitcoin's still bouncing higher. So instead of shorting VWAP, I might just let it get back into this 1230 high and then try to revert that. So Bitcoin, yeah, Bitcoin was my regret this morning because it was like the only thing I liked short. I roll my eyes because I did try to short it and failed. Like, of course, that's going to be the thing that didn't work in the morning. And then the long does, like, go figure. But I'm going to short this one going into the high on Bitcoin. Just need to maybe press a little bit higher or break this trend line, which it could also do. Bitcoin down 2%, but that's 24-hour market. ETH was much worse. ETH is at, like, Bitcoin's at 107.5. ETH broke 36 today and got to, I mean, it's 36.3 right now. Here, I can actually pull up Ethereum, show you guys for real. It's like, why not? We broke 3,600, got all the way down to 35.6. And remember, I just showed you a chart with Bitcoin over VWAP, right? And ETH certainly taking it, I don't mean taking it on the chin, whatever.
Where's Tom Lee?
But this pulling back in, BMNR holds.
Oh, I know where he is. He's done pumping it, my guy. He got everybody in and out.
Correct me if I say this incorrect. So BMNR, Tom Lee's, whatever that is, they own what, 2.5% of all ETH? Is that? Yeah. So he's rocking 2.5% of ETH. And right now, this is 25% from the highs. And getting into like the 200 period moving out, if you're into that sort of a thing. Like, it's getting to the point where, hey, there might be just one of those like trade bounce longs. If this were to drop another, call it like 5%, 6% into 34 hundo. So I'm gonna watch out for that level. There might be a nice little bounce play here for ETH. Can't imagine that BMNR is doing very well here. I haven't looked at it today. I'm gonna make the assumption it's having a bad day because you just saw a chart of ETH. Because I think as a trade, like maybe if ETH is a buy, maybe this is a better buy for a technical bounce because when ETH is down 4, this is down 7. So in theory, the reverse would also be true. So maybe the support would be about $40. We'll call it like $40 in BMNR, 3,400 or so on Ethereum. I think that could be a nice little dip buy spot, but not doing very well at all. This is what, 30-something% from just the high in October, not its actual. These highs are ridiculous. Like, it's nonsensical because that's the squeeze high. Like, the actual tops are like $70 here and then 66 there, and it's trading at 43. So, you know what? A bounce in ETH might be better played in this. I just think you got to wait for it. Not yet.
Yeah, I was still saying, like, I wish there was like a one sort of, like an ETF or something that tracks them all, and that way you can sort of better judge, like,
like
just an all-world ETF crypto coin, like that has like, you know, 30% Bitcoin, or more than that, like 60% Bitcoin. Basically, that tracks the market cap. You know, like Coinbase, I know moves on its own merits because it's obviously a stock and they have earnings and things like that, whatnot. But okay, we haven't looked at any of these kind of names yet. So Open Door today, trying to get back into 7. I don't mind that long. I mean, we've kind of went up and down there from 7 back into 9 or so, back into 7. That makes some sense there if that comes in. The Army and the Brigade right here with Big Bear AI, still waiting for those earnings to come through. I think it's next week on Big Bear AI. I always double check it. I haven't done anything, and nor am I doing anything with my Big Bear AI. Yeah, there it is in 3 days.
I feel like it was
no, sorry, 7 days, my bad. November 10th.
Oh.
I was going to say it was either the 10th or the 11th. I always mix it up. Now
I thought it was on my mom's birthday.
Now we'll
Something else is reported.
Okay, now we'll just remember that. So on the 10th, so a week today actually. Is it aftermarket? Okay, so we get Palantir, one of my guys, tonight, and then to next week we get Big Bear AI. So back-to-back good days for reporting for me on Mondays. So that was a good one right there. Yeah, what's up, Roland, Joe? There might be a Katina Capital ETF one day. You never know. All right, so I wanted to see, like, we got some questions about Berkshire. Berkshire dropped their report on the weekend. They always do that. This is going to be the last time you're going to see. You didn't even see. What's his name wasn't even there.
Buffett.
Warren, Uncle Warren, right there. Yeah, so he's basically done now, right? So not much going on right now with Berkshire, but they're sitting on that 380 billion. We did have Mr. Michael Noss come through and talk a little bit about potentially what that means for not only Berkshire, but for the market in general. And he was talking about how big cash position, it's not the first time that they've had a big cash position, and it won't be the last time. So watch out for Berkshire here to look to make an acquisition somewhere or get their money to work. And nothing wrong with sitting on cash. But remember, the main problem with cash right now is the interest rate. As the interest rate continues to move down, like we've just seen, and we get another one in December, hopefully, that puts your cash accounts lower because you're only going to be getting less on that. So they don't want to be sitting necessarily in too much cash. We saw that they made a move for Occidental recently, a couple of weeks ago, or maybe a month ago now, 9.7 billion. They took down Adara? Flame? I don't remember what it was called, but the division of Occidental.
That would be the petrochemical division of Occidental. And
shit, I stumped Adara.
I am very tired right now. This is not the day to do this. Give me 2 seconds.
Wow,
I will
okay. I'm not. I mean, Adara must be tired because she normally remembers, but it's Oxa something.
OxyChem?
Maybe.
I literally looked.
I don't know, but
yeah, OxyChem.
Whatever it was, it's down a little bit now.
$10 billion.
Yeah, they got 9.7 for it. So, yeah, that started to send to Occidental to the downside as well. So that's looking to break lower.
Doesn't happen very often for Adara.
No, that's what I was saying. I got her, stumped her right there. But that was a tough one.
But they got to work there. No, I had to look it up. I used to own shares of Occidental, and even I didn't know that one. I don't anymore. But
yeah, I don't even know. Just a division of Occidental there, but you know, not a great investment there. We have the Canadian guy. I forget what his name is. Again, he's taking over. And we'll see what happens with Berkshire. But I like Berkshire at these levels. I've been a buyer of this for a while now. Just actually the last couple of years, we started to do this when we had that podcast, and I was looking at it like, you know what, this is like basically a managed ETF, basically, Berkshire with all of their, and they don't have, it's not a very huge management fee. And they have, you know, a good look. Coca-Cola, obviously still a big part of that. WFC as well. You can Google it. But there it is. Get involved with this ETF, Berkshire, as it continues, you know, to do nothing. Not a dividend stock either. So we got to, you know, hold. Fed's Cook is still speaking, by the way. So I don't know what Fed's Cook is going to be saying here. But all right, let's go over when we're ready to Adara. Are you ready, Andre? A couple of seconds. All right, thumbs up. What do you got, Adara?
Be aware here, we still have commentary coming from Fed's Cook right now saying that she'd be ready to act, quote unquote, if inflation proves more persistent. So that is interesting. Again, coming in a little bit more cautious, though not out and out hawkish from Fed's Cook. She's also saying that she is worried about the labor market because of the fact that it can deteriorate very quickly. Now, before we send you back to Sean and Neil, we'll take a moment to thank our friends at Beta Pro, because we have some exciting news out of Canada for the sophisticated traders on the street. Beta Pro by Global X Canada, Canada's largest provider of leveraged, inverse, and inverse leveraged ETFs, has just launched 6 new triple levered ETFs, offering 3x bull and 3x bear exposure to the S&P TSX 60, semiconductors, and on U.S. Treasuries. But even better, they're offering a special fee rebate, dropping management fees to just 65 basis points until December 31st, 2025. Plus, the U.S.-focused strategies use currency hedging, offering the potential for pure performance and exposure. If you are a tactical, sophisticated trader looking to amplify your performance, check out betapro.ca/3x daily to learn more. Back to you.
Yeah, I mean, we literally have people here that should be able to do that.
Thank you very much there, Darius. So I got into one reversion, the long one and not the short one. This is IBIT. I was like, okay, it gets up here either to the top and breaks trend, we get into it. But Nvidia instead got to that 207 bottom from the morning, and then it broke its downward trend. So the first revision is the long in Nvidia. If you're just tuning in, shout out to Marco Rubio and apparently other advisors for saying you should not be selling advanced chips to China, Nvidia. So that was, it wasn't the higher move from the top. I believe it was somewhere around the 209. Like, I think it was actually this candle here after we had come on, where this fell off the 209. So that's actually the first step up is going to be into this 208 consolidation level that we have. And we'll see if this can get back to VWAP. So I think it'll be a play into VWAP for me on this trend break, kind of the same as usual. And shout out to everybody. I'm going to restart this because all day long it has been nothing but Tesla at the top of this thing. And I get it. Tesla's Tesla. Let's be real. But we're going to restart this. And when you type in new symbols that you want us to talk about, remember the most important thing is that you have to be in the chat first of all to do it. So hit the subscribe button so you can be in the chat. And then also remember, you have to use the $sign. So type the $sign. Don't do it yet. I have to fresh start. So whoever I think someone put IREN. You're probably going to want to type that again and throw your symbols on in there. Whether it's something that's moving, something you have questions about, something you just think is interesting looking chart. It doesn't really matter. IREN is still going to be up there as well. I feel like I didn't even look at that stock. We'll keep checking back on it. It's a really good way for us to have an idea what it is that our viewers are going to be interested in, not just what we're trading. Because, you know, like I'll be in this and to the volume weighted average price, which I might just throw an order there because to me, it's sort of an obvious resistance spot. The market kind of looks weak. A reversion, I always play a reversion into VWAP is generally speaking the way that I want to play that. The other thing is, if you were following this morning, I did say I was going to simply short Kenview at VWAP pretty much every chance that it gave me. It gave me 2 chances. 1 chance, 2 chances. I'll probably do this every single day that it works since the deal was announced. It's mostly a stock deal, so if the market trends down, that kind of helps me because KMG is who's buying them. So if that trends down or the market trends down, you're basically laughing. And it was just free money off you up. I don't know if it gets back there for a third salvo, but that's about 16.7 where I'm in right now. If it gets there, I might take it. I might not. I don't have an order down there. But it's giving you 2% twice if you short it at that price, so why not? And as I said, I will do it tomorrow and the day after that. And as long as it has volume, as far as I'm concerned. So the other thing that I was just mentioning was IBIT. Like Bitcoin just broke that trend to the downside. So Nvidia breaks the downtrend to bounce, and IBIT does this heavy pullback after it broke this slight upward trend. But I don't like to follow this all the way down. Like ideally, I want to be short like in here, and then give it to either the prior bar would be like 8 cents if I could get it right around like underneath 90, or you could then just give it to this top. But either way, that would require it popping up and getting me filled into the high 80s over here on IBIT. So I'm gonna see if I can't get filled. You know, you throw an order out, maybe it comes up and picks me up here and have my stop in case, and then we're locked and loaded and ready to go. That also reminded me, because you were tuning. Reminder to thank our good friend this morning, Bertrand, for all those donuts.
Yeah, right now, look, I'm going to thank the market for getting to the downside because there it is, man. New trade alert. I hope you guys saw it, man. It's TQs. We just bought it right there off 118. We like the 118 level. We wrote it down earlier. Tried to market. I don't know. The market's trying to get back going upside. Let's go. Right now we're long on the TQs, 118.20. With our out rate here, 117.80. Trying to get a little bit more out of this name right now as it continues to climb just a little bit. I did, yeah, there were some little peanuts or something in
It's the stuff from last week.
Yeah.
They're delicious,
candied almonds or something over there. Now I just got to reconnect my headpiece right here, but there goes the futures. So I just figure, like, I know we were underneath everything, but I like this area right there. I thought that if we can go for a run into the close, we'll be here to try it. Palantir obviously continuously going higher now, so we're happy with the way that one's been going there. I did want to quickly check in on gold. I know Neil reset that board for us. You know what? I'm going to get out one more piece here on the TQs. I do want to hold, there, I'm going to have 45s. Okay, so we're only at a 10%. I did want to check out to see what's going on with gold here as well. GLD 370, so kind of not doing too much. Pretty boring today, up to 371 and back down into 367. So, not much going on over there in the gold space, which is fine for us for right now. We can check out what silver's been up to as well. I recently bought some gold to diversify a little bit. There it is, man. We just broke through 50s on the futures. So yeah, man, we'll just go, let's go money bag yo right here because, yeah, there it goes. Nice move. On the futures. So we just put another trade on right there. So bought it there, breaking through the 21 period moving average, breaking through the 50, now at the 200, on its way to VWAP. I think we can put an offer somewhere up there. Let's go to 59, put an offer there, and then we'll see if we're able to get that fill. But so far, so good now as TQ is going higher, and we're happy for that. And our Palantir continues to climb a little bit as well. So that's so far so good here with PLTR. But yeah, the market, I mean, Tesla might be a good little look there. I know we're going to sort of go back to that board. Neil's on Nvidia, which is a good day to be on Nvidia, as he talked about Mini Marco and some of his talks there as well. And I don't know if it was him or not.
Well, no, the Wall Street Journal report said Rubio and yeah, they did say Rubio. Like, I'm not making it up. Obviously he's one of their advisors, but the only one they gave by name was Marco Rubio. Not that it really matters. Like, I take it with a grain of salt anyways.
Yeah.
Because it was a very, like, the whole position of do not sell advanced chips to China is the kind of thing that was mostly bipartisan anyways. So I would imagine that's a very popular opinion.
Makes sense.
In Washington. But it doesn't.
National security, I really don't think that.
But it's kind of like the president's opinion that obviously matters the most at the end of the day. That said, it has been bipartisan and it's been contentious. I just don't see any way of China, like, if there's a finalized deal between the U.S. and China, I think one of the concessions is some kind of chips going to them, one way or another. All right, we're topping out here in front of VWAP at the quarters. So this could be the turn. I'm going to take it out. Just a quick little reversion trade into VWAP on Nvidia into, like I said, already into VWAP. It was a long downward trend, but specifically these guys had the negative news. So as it pulls back into what was the bottom before the news, if you think support to resistance, morning support to the support before the news came out, and it basically ticked it almost exactly. Like, this bottom wick before that story hit is effectively where this stock just topped out a couple of seconds ago. I did not get the IBIT reversion. I was trying to sit there and get picked up, and it did not get me filled, so I might have to take some 80s after all on that trend break. This one's more of like it's a B setup. It's a little tight to VWAP. You know what, the more I look at it, I don't really like it. It's not a long enough trend. It's too close to the volume weighted average price. Maybe ETH is a better if crypto falls play here. Maybe I just don't even find a short, to be honest with you.
Yeah, you don't have to do, yeah. I mean, I think the market's, it's bouncing off VWAP now, so that's going to be the interesting part for me. I just adjusted the Palantir trade, so it's actually going to stop out right there at the 200 period if we break through right there, so 205.50. So we break through there, we'll get out of our Palantir. I mean, it's still a great long, but we need to wait for that. We talked about DraftKings earlier as well today. We talked about UNH a little bit on the first show. UNH is pulling back. DraftKings right into 30. I mean, I think that's a really, looks to me like a great level for DraftKings. I just would like to see their earnings report, and I think that's later. Did we ever go over when DraftKings? There's so many dates now that I have to try to remember here. When's my anniversary again? Oh yeah, here, hold on a second. DraftKings. So there it is in 3 days. So November the 6th. coming through is DraftKings. So I'd like to wait there, but I do think that this is a name that I can get behind, DKNG. I like the first mover advantage. I know that didn't work well for Beyond Meat, but I think for DraftKings here, they did buy that Railbird. I want to hear like what exactly these poly markets and the other one there, Kalshi, all that, like what exactly kind of effect are they having on their earnings? Because they still don't have Texas, they still don't have California, and there's one other major state that they're looking for right now that's huge. It might be, did I say Florida? Texas, Florida, maybe that's what it is. Texas, Florida, California, right now for DraftKings. So I just want to see if there is, any possibility for those to come on board. Those are huge sporting states, and the gambling should be there as well, right? I mean, again, not that gambling is state specific, but with the population that's coming through and the opportunities there, big sports nations, see if they can get that license and get them going for DraftKings. So I do actually like DKNG. Whatever happened to Penn? We used to trade Penn there, and then Dave Portnoy and whatnot was involved with these guys in Barstool. Penn wound up buying Barstool and then sold it basically right back to him for nothing. So I think Portnoy is the one that wound up making out like a bandit in all of this, but love him or hate him, that was a good deal, it seems like. Penn's another one, again, owns some casinos. So that would be a good opportunity there to do some more research on Penn and see what they're up to. WYNN is the name that I like. WYNN, again, in Macau, right? So as we talk about some of these deals in China, maybe they start to get a little bit more clear and whatnot, then you're going to see, hopefully, WYNN go back up and take out some of their highs as well into the 130s there. We had a good report from LVS this is another big Macau name. And we have, I think Vegas right now, it's hard to say like Vegas is alive or dead right now. I mean, the weather over there right now in Vegas, I mean, it's so super hot coming out of the summer into the fall. So we'll start to see some traffic start to pick back up there. But look what LVS has done. They're on a daily chart, just all the way to the upside. Las Vegas Sands kicking it right there. So that's a nice move as we continue higher on LVS. I mean, just taking out these levels and going. This looks like the winner in the casino space. The other one is CZR, Caesars. I like Caesars. Like a few times I've been to Vegas, Caesars is a great spot. All those hotels are so huge. It's great to see them all. But look at this, going in opposite directions of our good friend WYNN both WYNN and LVS. So Caesars might have some problems underneath them as well. I don't know what exactly they would be, but Caesars looking lower there. Let me know what casino stock you guys like there in the chat. I'm not even sure if there's a casino ETF.
I've never owned a casino stock.
Actually. Nas put out a short about LVS. No, when was that?
I don't think there'd be enough names for there to be an ETF.
No, that's that. I mean, I don't think so. You'd have to get some other names in there, like.
But there could be like an entertainment ETF.
Well, you could put in like Marriott. You could put in like different.
Yeah, that's what. I mean, Disney would. I mean, in some way.
That's an ETF that they'd have to make up and figure out what's going on there. When did Michael Noss say that about LVS?
I've actually never heard him talk about it.
I was just wondering. Yeah, I don't know, because I know he has his own Instagram or Twitter and all that he puts things out on. So there goes LVS upside, Rivian Millionaire. Let me know. We can ask him. I mean, he's coming on the show with Neil tonight, I believe, anyways. All right, so just a quick update on Palantir. I mean, our futures trade has come back a little bit. We're only out of 30% of this. I'm going to take another piece out right now at 42s. If we can get it, there it is. We get some 42s out. So now we're officially in about 60% left of this TQQ trade. It just doesn't look like it wanted to get all the way to VWAP. So let's not really screw this up too badly there. But there's a couple outs. We can hold it into the close, comfortable doing that for sure. So we'll wait on it, and love trading the futures. I think this is a great opportunity to get involved with some of it right now. And I meant to go over to Palantir quickly and have a quick look, but we're still using the 200 period moving averages are out 205.50 on that one. And then Tesla's all-time high. Let me just see what eSignal says, because I know there's some talk about it. Was it 481, 490 and change? eSignal's giving this 488.54. Going all the way back here. I'll bring down my chart here to show you guys where they're saying it's all the way back into last summer. The winter. So December of 24, so about a year ago, right there is when we topped out for the all-time high. You can see that little mark down there from eSignal, 488 and change. It does look like we have maybe a couple of wicks higher, but 488 looking out for Tesla. Wow. A couple days ago, man, honestly, this was 420. Like it was right back into there. That's the 24th of October. Literally a week ago, back in. So Yeah, it was 420. Like that's where it bounced off of.
It's so amazing that stock is.
So yeah, lots of stuff happening right there. But I think they're. Well, I mean, we could put a couple polls out. We could put a Palantir poll out, or we could put a Tesla poll out. Does Tesla break all-time highs this week?
But the problem is Palantir's already broken the high. So like.
No. Just Palantir will just be up or down for tomorrow.
Oh, I see what you. Oh, I thought you were comparing.
Let's do that. Let's do that with 1 minute, with 1 hour left. Okay.
Palantir's better because it's news tonight.
Yeah, just get rid of the current poll. Yeah, we'll hear. This is what it is right now.
What is the current?
Does Neil have a mustache in November?
On.
What? The people are voting, Neil.
Yeah, but like they voted like yeah.
I mean, are you a man of the people or not? I mean, right here, this is, do you want to see Neil in a mustache?
I actually agreed to this, by the way.
No, this is just a question. This is not, this is not a bet with Neil. This is, do you want to see Neil with a mustache? So whatever, he has to ask, here, I know how you can get away with it. Just say you'll ask your daughter, and then she'll say no, and then you don't have to do it.
But she will. She's already said no several times.
Oh, she already said no, okay.
No, she strongly dislikes me with facial hair, so it's actually.
Thing is, Sharif did it, and I was like, it's a Mario. But now I think it looks actually, Sharif's kind of growing on me.
I think I look ridiculous with facial hair, to be honest with you. And my daughter 100% agrees. She really dislikes it.
Don't listen to anything that guy says on your screen. That's the first thing right now. Oh man, no, we're training. There's some.
Oh, I know what that is. I wasn't sure what that was.
Yeah. All right, so we're trying to. Watching something that's my face is on the screen, so I'm like, don't trust anything that guy says. But no, just joking around. Trust everything I say. But no, 470 for Tesla. Look, we talked about that. We said that this was going to be something here potentially into the afternoon. We didn't want to short this name. Looks like we're going to be right on that call, but it's come right into a level again. So 470.50 right there for Tesla, up now 3%. Maybe some giving back here for Sir Elon and company. But so we're going to get rid of that poll and put up, will Palantir be green or red tomorrow? That's it. Just tomorrow, at open, is Palantir red or green? I don't care. The move is 10%.
It keeps it simple.
Give or take 10%. I mean, I don't, we may not get to that level. I don't know like how in line Palantir's estimates come or not. And then I want to do maybe a one tomorrow about Tesla getting to its all-time high, maybe by the end of next week. I think this week, but the poll will be pretty.
At
pretty
this rate, it's 1 day away. It's hard to.
No, at 9:30 open tomorrow. We'll do.
Yeah,
Palantir.
say at the open.
Yeah, 9:30. So at market open tomorrow, will Palantir be green or red? That's it. Simple thing there. My vote is for green.
Someone just said flat in the chat. Well, it's not going to be flat.
Could be close to flat. Who knows?
Yeah, but exactly flat it won't be. Close to. Well, which one is that? I didn't see that one.
I saw this one down there. This is crunchy almond.
That looks good. What was like? Oh yeah, no. Well, to me, anything plus or minus, flat is more like anything inside of like 1% up or down. I would consider to be flat, but that's not what the poll's going to be. It's literally just going to be red or green, which the market is rolling at VWAP. So
I don't want to make this.
David, we're going to get to your super chat, but we're pulling back a little bit here. David,
Palantir at 222.
Anyone in the community have a recommendation for a great workstation laptop? Love my Lenovo ThinkPad 15-inch, but open to other brands. So, well, that question wasn't to us. We literally just trade on the computers that are provided for us, what they hook us up with here on the floor. But we have a great community out there. That's the right place to ask. And I think, you know what, at the end of the day, you want to be able to trust your internet connection, your PC, laptop, your broker as well. You want to make sure you have a reliable broker with data. Make sure you actually.
I really like Lenovo's.
We love
business machines, international business machines. Grab the IBM situation going on over there.
I love IBM stock.
I love IBM. I mean,
do it IBM.
If someone wants me to test one of the laptops out there, I mean Lenovo.
I'd go for a ThinkPad.
Sean at tradertv.live. Message me out there.
Actually,
right on air, we'll open up a little Lenovo.
You know what I realized? We tried to give my daughter like an old laptop, and apparently it wasn't that old. I had to check the specs on it, but like Roblox was always crashing on it.
Yeah.
And then I realized it was like I thought, okay, it should be fine. It was kind of old, but like it was just the Roblox was chewing up too much.
Yeah, that's the.
So we're actually considering, okay, like for Christmas, do we get her like a laptop that's good enough, or do we just get her a nice tablet and then connect the keyboard to it? So we're not decided.
I did the laptop.
She's not watching. It's not like she knows what's going to happen here, and she's not going to watch this right now. And if she does, then I'm an idiot. But
My kids are at cooking class.
it's
They
school.
do after-school cooking class.
For a second, I'm like, why are they in school? And then
But I went, so I got
I
got her a MacBook. So I just got her.
So you
a
went to
MacBook.
like the laptop.
I just got her. Yeah, I just got her last month.
The thought would be then.
And Roblox runs great on it.
What probably works too well because
Probably
then she's
works
all
too
over
well.
Roblox.
Yeah, she told me the other day, this MacBook is too loud. It's the fan. It's like it's trying to. I didn't get her. I got her an older one, so it's a couple years old. Their MacBook, but I mean, they don't really need it for school. At school, they give them the for free. They give the Google. What are those? The Android computers. What are those ones called again? Chromebooks.
Yeah,
Chromebooks.
Yeah, those are all.
They're good, but I mean, they don't have much power to them. They're allowed to take them home and everything. Thing is that her team, her hockey team, they do video review a couple times a week. So.
Oh, you want a tablet?
So she's.
Well, I mean, I guess
she's all over the video review. So.
Yeah.
She watches that on her laptop. Actually, Surface, Microsoft, Surface. We'll try some of those laptops around here as well.
Oh, nice. Okay.
Buddy.
Take some of those suggestions. Can you look at, thank you for Stromnetz Berlin. Appreciate it.
Stromnetz Berlin, yeah, it's Strom.
CIFR.
Marcus Stroman.
You know what we said about this one? There was a couple of gappers this morning. I was like, well, this one at least fared better in terms of, because sometimes you just make the high in the morning and that's just how it is on these gappers. If you got it in the pre-market, great. If you're buying it into the open, sometimes you end up buying that top and hopefully you can scalp it. Because it did break out the high and go like $1.20. So if you have a scalping mentality, you could have easily won on that breakout. But if you had a buy it and buy the dip and hold all day long mentality, you got rinsed effectively. But it did hold on to kind of the prior high. It maybe rinsed some people out by taking out that prior high, and it's going to close above the top. That's a good sign. I forget the other symbol that we're looking at, but that one wasn't nearly as good. But either way, you're going to get it's a topping tail candle with a close above prior resistance that you're getting on CIFR. That said, there's never a scenario, in my opinion, that when you have this type of a breakout, whether it's that breakout or maybe you bought this dip after what I would assume would be earnings based on the volume spike, or even this dip in the prior high. All of those, like that's 50% to the top. Like here, again, that's 50% to the top. This one is a double up. Those are all very clean profit-taking levels, despite the fact that it looks bullish. It's more of like a, let it fly, but like I look at charts like this, and I'm always thinking, if you congratulations if you got it, but make sure I play with house money on plays like that, as opposed to, hey, I got in and look at this great dip, I'm just going to hold it all. Like the stock is up from August, this stock is up 5 times, 5x. That's a lot. Short float's going to play into it as well a little bit, but yeah, great look. It's a great bullish close if it can hold on to this 22 area, but those are great technical, 50% or 100% from the more obvious dip buys. Makes some sense to me to take some profit and let it fly.
I wanted to just adjust my TQQ trade here. So it did, like if I always try to think about, and I think this is a good way of thinking about trades also, is if you were not in the trade that you're currently in, would you like it? Okay. So that's something right now that when I look at this TQQ trade, I think to myself, this doesn't look that great. We just bounced again off not again, but we bounced off VWAP. We bounced off the 200 period moving average. The market, we've already seen lower lows here today at some point, and they could be coming back again. I took it one time real quick. I know how much this trade can go against me, really super fast. So I just want to say that if you are in this trade, I've changed my out. So if this breaks basically 118, then 118, then I'm gone. I'm out of this trade. I don't really need to be nor want to be involved in a Qs trade if we do break below that. So we're going to hold on to what we have. I'm still pretty bullish at these levels, but I don't want to average in. I don't want to see it come down to here, and I don't want to lose 30 or 40 cents. Like the most we were able to get, and I think that going 1-to-1 is not something that I know Joe's building something that has that risk to reward thing, and I think you were talking about what 2.64. Oh, he has
1.9. I thought he had it higher than he's adjusting it to 1.
Okay, so 2-to-1 or so if you're looking for, but I just trade basically on feels and on what I'm seeing, not like where is this. And we had somebody on, who was it? it was Obi that was saying that Fibonacci's are basically a scam. So I don't. You have to let Obi say that. He went off.
He did
on
say that?
Yeah, he did.
I've never like.
He said Fibonacci. He was reading. No, but the thing. This is why I'm saying it has to be with Obi because there was a trader that he follows, and maybe if you guys are in the chat, no. Who? Just come on, Adele.
Lance Breitstein.
Okay.
I have no idea who that is. I don't follow any traders, to my demise probably. But it's apparently this dude has done historical studies, and there's absolutely nothing linked in charting to Fibonacci.
No love for the Fibonacci's.
Yeah, so that was from him. But again, apparently that data is out there. But that has nothing to do with what I'm talking about. I was just going to say, for me, I don't necessarily say, all right, for this to work, like I'm long at 18.20. I just got out at 50, so that's 25 cents was the most I was able to get. Therefore, my loss has to be 25 cents. I'm just trying to look at it like we just bounced off there. And this support, I don't really think it may not hold. I don't know if it's going to or not, but that's part of what trading is. So I'm going to take a little bit more down here. We just missed it. I'm at 18.10. If we get 18.10, I'm going to give it to like 118, basically breaking. And even though this doesn't look like that's that much, that is still 75s. So I would rather save like 20 cents and get out like on a 95 break and not have to deal with that and make the bottom wick again if that's what comes down. So let's just be very, very careful with it. It's 3:15. It's now power hour. Do we have that power hour graphic?
I didn't see it.
I feel like we're missing that. We have.
Run
we have,
that
okay.
again.
Can we hit it? Yeah, it doesn't matter. I mean, it is power hour right now. But you're still in. I know you're in Nvidia. I guess
I was in it. I went to VWAP. Here, I was just going to show this because I'll say this for Fibonacci's. When I used to trade penny stocks, when you're starting out as a trader, you try anything and everything. And one of the things I was trying to use to always hold things, maybe a little bit longer, with day trading, so longer in the day, was Fibonacci's. I found zero success with it, so I literally stopped. And I'd use trend lines because I found that it worked better for me in terms of where to exit trades or where to try to catch bottoms and tops. So that's what I use the penny stock trader. But like just to give you, just for absolute fun, this is Nvidia on a daily. I don't even know if this is how you're supposed to use it. Let's go the low, like the April low, which is our Liberation Day. Why am I struggling to say Liberation Day? Liberation Day low to this resistance level, and then I know what's going to happen. If I click this, I don't have it set right, so you're going to lose some of those lines. But look at how well this actually ends up working out. So you sometimes will find a situation, where you throw a Fibonacci in here, and then the level works out, and that 185 up top ends up being pretty much the exact resistance that you would expect by looking at that measured move. And if that works for you, it works for you. And if it doesn't work for you, it doesn't work for you. I just believe you should do whatever do whatever works. Like if you consistently make money using Fibonacci's, then do that. And if you consistently make money using the 9 and 21 EMA or the 50 period or whatever the heck it is, it ultimately doesn't matter. And whether someone else likes it or not should be irrelevant. I happen to like trend lines, and it was the first thing that actually continued to work, and I still use VWAP. And I always make sure I have a volume indicator on there, and those are the things that I like. And to each your own, for sure. And someone just said in the chat, it's long. That one's long term, or some people say it's good for confluence. Yeah. Some people just they have their strategy, and maybe they want one or two indicators to confirm what they're already seeing. Yeah, whatever works for you. I think is as long as you test it, and as long as you make sure, hey, okay, this isn't really working, so I shouldn't be doing it. Not just, I think it's good. This Nvidia right back to where our entry is. And what I don't like about it is see how far this dipped. The futures didn't really dip as far. This dipped more than the market did on that pullback from VWAP, which makes me not like the long as much. We have a couple more super chats, if I can find them. Palantir at 222 after pulling back from 230. So clearly you voted green. Thank you to Rattle. I don't think I've seen that name before. Thank you for the super chat, Rattle.
Thank you very much.
So 222.
Thank you
I
very
love
much.
that number. Contrarian Obi is the best Obi. That's his style. He loves the mean reversion. He likes to find the top, find the bottom. Look for when everyone's thinking one way, kind of go the other mentality, which is again that can easily be your style. My very first style was in penny stocks. Find the person that controls the stock And back then you could do it with market makers, but also it was support and resistance. Like if it's a penny stock and it finds any kind of a bottom, it's got serious potential. And if you found a support level, just buy, and then just hold and work in and out of the position. And if I thought like 25.5 was a buy level on a stock, then I just go long 26, 26 quarter, 26 half, like all day long until it stopped working. I would just be constantly in the position and constantly working in and out of it. And if what I thought was support was gone, you punch the heck out. And sometimes you were an idiot and you'd be like, it's still holding when you knew you shouldn't. And that was, it's funny because all of the worst days penny stock trading was always the same thing. It was either overfilling a good long, overfilling it short accidentally, or I know this is a support level, buying a bunch into it, and then being like, oh, it's going to be fine, and holding through, which everybody does from time to time. And it was always those two things that burned you. The overfills usually weren't that bad because you'd be long and be like, oh crap, I have too many orders. I'd overfill short, then like you take the hit right away, but the other one really, really would burn you because you'd be overconfident and you usually be in max position at that moment. Everyone can be stubborn. Never, if you're doing something because of a support level, when that support level is gone, you got to get the heck out of Dodge, especially in a penny stock.
All right, Leroy, I saw you put that up. Yeah, no, I mean, penny stocks, you got to be careful with. We see them traded on the midday there with Sharif. Not just penny stocks, but a little faster moving names as well. Okay, what's up, Leroy? Notice, hey, Sean, what's up, Leroy? How's it going? You hold your trades up to 10 to 1. Yeah. I hate that meme. All right, but you exit at 1 to 1. I mean, that's what we're talking about, right? It's about not having the big losers and trying to have some winners. I mean, I'm doing it hopefully for you guys every day here. I think I've proven that. So what's your average risk to reward? I have no idea. So that's the one thing that I don't do is homework, really. You know, don't tell my kids, but no, I just, I don't really look at what my averages tend to be. You know, like what I try to do is try to make just the best possible trades and then look at the charts afterwards and try to figure out where. So I do a little bit of homework as far as that is concerned, but I don't download my trade lists or go through them, and that's to my demise. I mean, I probably would be a much better trader if I did that. I mean, we're already sitting here for a reason, but if I actually leveled it up, I mean, who knows how much better, and I think that goes to doing more work. But at the end of the day right there, yeah, I would say it's probably 2 to 1 is probably decent, like, you know, because sometimes you put on trades and they don't work out and you wind up losing, and on those days, you'll see me, I'll tell you guys like that I'm down or I've just lost a boatload, or like on Friday or whatever, we lost something, I think it was on Tesla, but then made it all back on Palantir. So just talking about like what a disaster stock I have and what that looks like versus the other way around. For me, the biggest problem is not on that. It would be just, and this is in the past, hopefully, just averaging in maybe into losing trades. Once a trade is given up, like I think a big example here would be, let's get rid of that. But I think like right here on the TQs and what we did earlier today, I think is a perfect example of that. Like we liked 118, it came into 118. It fell through. As soon as we got filled, we put our stop in, and then moments later, our stop got triggered and we were out of it. So like on this particular hit, we probably lost 20 cents. And like right here, see, like it goes up in the money. The problem is I have too many outs to do that math, Leroy, to like try to figure out exactly where my, what my eventual ends are. But like this comes right up and I take it out because it's at the 200, and we take more out because it's at VWAP, right? And if it continues upside, then we'll get some out at 119 and then so on and so forth. So that would turn into all of a sudden a 3 to 1, 4 to 1, 5 to 1 winner. But it's more about trying to hold on to more of the position. So like right now on the TQs, I still have about 35, 40% of this trade. And noticing right here, and again, this is why I'm saying I'm not wired like this. Like that looks like this is a top, right? I mean, these are tops here. It just topped out, came back, topped out, came back. So the next time it comes back up there, I'm getting some out. I don't even look at what the risk to reward is there. I just look and see in the blotter and see profit plus an area that I like to take it out. So I'm going to take it out and then adjust my stop and get a little bit more conservative on the stops. But thank you, Day Trader LA. Sent 10 gifting memberships plus some super chats. We can get those super chats up there once they're
And Day Trader LA with a super chat this morning as well. So thank you very much for that. Day Trader LA. Oh, there it is. Prediction time. AMD over 260 tomorrow. Well, they report, but you're talking about like tomorrow before?
AMD reports when? Tomorrow?
I don't think tomorrow or Thursday. Tuesday or Thursday. They're this week anyways. I'll double check. Adara probably remembers.
I
But
think he means tomorrow morning.
yeah, but are we talking about before earnings?
AMD.
Usually we think prediction after earnings.
Tomorrow, 4:15 p.m. Eastern ETA.
I feel like that's more fun after earnings than before. Well, I just told you I sold some AMD today to put some into AbbVie. It just came down to what else do I want to trim that is an AI affected name so I could put it into some other sector. And the answer I came up with for the second time was AMD. And it's like that was the same answer I came up with the first time I asked myself that question was AMD, and it's still kind of the answer to me. And it has more to do with just what it's done and the valuation and relative to Nvidia for me than anything else. So, I mean, I guess by default it would be disingenuous for me to say anything else other than lower. I don't know how. I don't have strong thoughts on this one, to be honest with you. But like I said, I just sold some in front of these earnings after the bell tomorrow. So join Sean Adara tomorrow for some AMD earnings. There's a couple of other good names. I believe SMCI is the other one. Unfortunately, Uber is in the morning.
Yeah, there's a couple in the morning.
I don't know why
Shopify's in
Uber
the
always
morning,
has to report in
Shopify.
the morning. I hate
Best Canadian name, Shopify.
I hate morning earnings.
Yeah, I mean, banks kicked them off in the morning.
I just don't like it.
Yeah. All right. So here goes, man. Now this is an official. Okay, we're reloaded. Right there in the TQs, we just got 11s. I just tried to get out at 18s. We did not get filled right there. So hopefully this can blast up through. And this is what I mean. I don't even look at the risk to reward. There it is. We get some 18s. As this tries to blast up higher, then I'm waiting at 21s, and then we're waiting at 26s just to get back up upside right here, trying to turn winning trades into realized winning trades. So there it goes. Give me those 21s. If we can get up there, break through. And again, in the 50-period moving average, 27s. We're again at 26s. So if we can just get a little bit more out here, and that would be good for us. And then we can see, there it is. Yes, yes, yes. See? This is what we do. Man, I'm sore today. Ugh. All right. So there goes the TQs, man. We're waiting at 26s now at 24. So this is a 12-cent winner. This is more like if we were doing 1-to-1, I told you my stop would be just breaking through 118. So it's like 1-to-1 right now. So if you're in that, and I actually wonder there, Leroy, because most of my trades are winning, like pretty. I mean, someone did a study and was over 75 or 80% or so winning trades. But I feel like if I actually took more shares and maybe just took, 1-to-1s, how much better maybe we would be. So there could be something there for sure. I'm going to offer some. There we go. We get some 21s again, and we get some more out there at 21s. So that's so far a decent trade there as well. All right. So yeah, ultimately neutral, exiting at 1-to-1. Yeah, exactly. So I don't really like 1-to-1 trades, but something that to talk about. As I know, different traders, as we say all the time on this show, have different strategies. So do yours, and that would be the most successful. But there it goes. So we just got a couple more outs. Waiting out for Palantir. It's still holding out okay. I'm still going to wait for 205.50. Hopefully that holds us into the close. And then right here on the vote, I voted green. But I think that's kind of cherry picking a little bit. I'm not sure where Palantir's earnings are going to go. I think that in this space right now, when we talk about what we're looking forward to, government spending is obviously, that's where I lean towards being a little dovish or hawkish, I guess, on their report. Because if they come out and say, look, we're uncertain about some of these contracts because of the government funding, I don't think that's necessarily going to happen, but that could be a case for Palantir tonight. So.
I actually voted green, but my reason had more to do with anecdotally, my memory, I remember far more instances of Palantirs being at the top, being near highs or at highs when they report, gapping up, but then dropping at 9:30 than the other. So like my brain just goes to, well, if most of the time it's the gap up and then sort of take profit at 9:30, well, it needs to be up in the first place to do that. So therefore, I'm going to vote for what I think is the better probability. I didn't do any math. It was just like in my brain. That's how I remember it more times than not. The other thing, it's falling. Well, I mean, I could have gone short where we entered long on Nvidia, but I was looking for a long. It's just continuing to drop. So Nvidia is going to lose. Oh, check
Get more
that.
out of these futures.
It's barely hanging on to the morning low. That's at 206.79, and that's right. I just kicked my old keyboard. I had to replace my keyboard this morning, but which you should always make sure you do. Like came in and one of my keys was literally not working. was like, oh, can I do without that key? And then realized that was a pretty stupid thing because it was pretty important. Changing like share size would be a little bit annoying based on the way I did it, so I made sure I made that change. Yeah, I'm not gonna get into this Nvidia again to the long side. Don't like it. It's about 330. I was gonna look at some early imbalances, and there's a few over $1 million already, but none of these are names that like Enbridge and TD are dual listed, so no matter how big the imbalance is, if you're not looking at it in Toronto and it's not the same way, then it doesn't matter. Pfizer is a sell imbalance at 2.3 million, almost always. Pfizer pretty much pairs off every single time. Helka Mining, 2 million to the sell side. Don't know what's up with that. That's a pretty significant portion of the day's volume, but it's not really moving going into it. So pretty light. I mean, HL looks interesting. Just doesn't seem like the kind of stock that would move a ton. So I might keep it up on the radar. But 330 has hit. I put a trail on this Kenview, and as I said, this might be one where it's just like VWAP for a couple of days. I've seen this, sometimes this, when you have like cash and stock buyouts, it'll do this, where it'll actually trade trend for a little bit. So you're not just sort of trading the inside range on arbitrage. You're effectively just trading a trend. And the market overall was kind of a downtrend. So this kind of gave you VWAP twice. I have a trail in here at like 16.5 bucks. Otherwise, we'll see if we can get the low of the day there. IBIT not doing much of anything. Let us know what else you guys are watching. I saw some people saying, why is Meta going down? Or what's going on with Meta? What's going on with Alphabet? Right now, the market loves Alphabet's quarter, and they're hating on Meta. So one is doing this, and the other is doing that. And of course, Alphabet just made them. And like the worst timing ever. I was about to tell you that Alphabet's at the high of the day, and now it's starting to pull back as well. But right now, Meta's in the penalty box. And Alphabet is broken out in kind of a big way. But if you look at it since earnings, this is actually the first up day since earnings. You pull back into up day. So Google seems to have found a post-earnings bottom at this 280 level. As long as that holds, I think for the next couple of days, you're at least looking for some longs on Google. As far as Meta's concerned, I just don't know. I'm not trying to guess where the bottom is going to be. I wanted to do this. Hit a low, hold a low, come in the next day, play off that low. Meta hasn't done it yet.
Yeah, I actually really like that talk there about Google. I think getting some strength there in Google back into the market. Like if the market dips down, we, like Google, like that report. I think that was one of the better reports. And then they got hit off of that as well. So, watch out for Google. Again, I like the stock and own the stock. So just a little talk on that one. And then a little bit of a talk here on TQs one more time as almost broke 118. So we're going to give it just a little bit more than that to the upside. There it goes. I was just going to say, now we're getting some more out as it's trying to come back upside again right now. I'm going to get another piece out at 18 if we can do that. It doesn't look like it wants to do too much. If we could just scalp out near at the end of the day, all we're really doing, we're at 3 times right now our daily goal. A lot of that was, we only have 2 trades today. We have AMD long and short, so we flipped up on AMD as soon as we broke through that 250.70. We could judge market weakness, and again, I think this is part of what I do the best, and we were able to take advantage of that. So there it goes, market weakness in AMD brought that downside. So that's my big banger there for the day. And then we have Palantir, which is obviously a good trade. You can see what we're doing there. And then the last but not least is the TQs, and we took that really early there. So I guess we have 2 trades, and then we're just kind of trying to figure out TQs now. So I guess 3 names. That's all that I've traded there today. That was a decent out right now. We have half of what we have left. So this reload may not work out right now for the futures with only 30 minutes left until Palantir. There's really not too many earnings. Adara has them all out. Yeah, HIMS today and PLTR, and then a bunch tomorrow morning, man. Yeah. That's going to be a couple big ones there tomorrow. What's up, Adara?
That's a great transition there, Sean, because I actually want to remind you guys of the implied moves in the expected times for these numbers. 4 p.m., we have Vertex, which only implied move of 6.4% this time, but it actually dropped 20% last report. So VRTX could be one to watch. Also Navitas and Diamondback Energy, or FANG, reporting at 4. At 4:05, we get by far the 2 most closely watched names that are reporting after the bell today. Palantir and HIMS and HERS in second place. Then we have CLX at 4:10 p.m. And again, here are the implied moves. You can find this infographic on X at TTV Research. But as we know, Uber is going to report tomorrow morning. You may be wondering, what's the implied move for that? Well, guys, I have an infographic for that too. Now, I do want to remind you guys these implied moves are always very subject to change, and they can change by any amount. So again, we're about over, like, maybe we'll say 15 hours away from these reports. These implied moves might change a bit, but here they are as of like roughly 5 minutes ago when I posted this. We're having quite large implied moves for a lot of these names. The smallest one is Pfizer, the largest here, HUT8, about 15%. Again, this can also be found on X at TTV Research. And get ready for earnings previews for names like AMD and Supermicro. Those are likely to be posted tomorrow ahead of those earnings reports. Back to you.
Like that Ferrari. Yeah, I don't remember where you were talking about that HUT8 with
Because
Eric Jackson.
yeah, that Eric Jackson day was that the temporary high? Was it really this day, and then it pulled all the way back to 38? Because I don't remember, we looked at it that day and it was like, okay, well, that was fun. And then the next day it was already trading down. I remember that much. But that was an inopportune time to have gotten into that. You're fine now because you're right back up to the top, but you had to weather the storm of like 30% to the downside there. As HUT8 potentially breaking out fresh highs, because it looks like they're not just about crypto, but that's going to be a big one. I just wish they weren't reporting tomorrow morning, but it'll be a fun one tomorrow. Lots to work off of. I just realized we just bounced off the low, and I said I would get out, so I'm going to do it and then show you why. And so there was a question in the chat. I believe it was Leroy Jenkins. No, straight up, Leroy Jenkins in the chat.
Yeah, we saw.
And I wasn't just saying that to say it. I said I would get out if we bounced off the lows on Kenview. The same bottom held at 16.3. But the question was something along the lines of what kind of a ratio should you have? Like what percentage of your account should you make? For a retail trader, I don't know the answer. I've only ever traded prop. I've never actually traded, retail. Well, I mean, I've traded my own money, but not to consider that where I'm making my money. So as a trader on a prop desk, like you have a daily shutdown limit. And then, so like that's usually like a rolling, like here it's like a rolling 12-day average, blah, blah, blah. And then you get like 40% extra on your shutdown based on relative to your average day. So that's the metric you work off of for, how much you're winning to losing. Like most traders, it's like if you can exceed it's called your monthly profit projection. If a month that's over that, good. And then you want to control your losses to make sure that you're not getting shut down. Like on a prop floor, usually there's a risk system built in to guide you towards that. That's a humongous advantage. But it's also it's necessary when you're trading someone else's money. They get to tell you how to to a certain degree, like what you're allowed to risk. I shouldn't say they don't tell you what to do, but I'll never forget like the smartest. I don't want to say the smartest guy in my training group, but the guy who knew the most about the market and trading and analyzing charts and all that stuff, it's like he knew a bunch sitting down and none of us knew anything. I won't say his name. But he'd get into these like crazy winning trades. You're gonna know this. And he'd be like up walking around, like getting a coffee. And it's like, he'd have like the biggest winner of the day. And then it would come all the way back and he'd taken nothing out. Then he would just get stopped out. He was really good at making calls. And I'll remember he was always getting constantly yelled at. You remember the dude. He was a good guy.
That's literally what I'm listening to everything you're saying. Good at making calls, big winners, this and that. That's pretty much.
No, but he would never take
the stops, exactly.
No, but he would literally never take. It was almost like every single trade. I think because he'd always been a retail trader, he would swing trade. He was so used to that it's like, oh, but it hasn't hit my target. I'm like, you're day trading right now. You have to be out by the end of the day. So that doesn't work. You can't just be like, the best price is going to be at 4 o'clock. I mean, literally, it didn't work that way. And it never worked out for him. And it was frustrating to watch him because I think for the first week, I shut down my first 7 days, which as a trainee is kind of normal. Like you lose $10, you shut down. But this guy was already instantly making money. It'd be frustrating him to see and throw it away. But ultimately, it didn't work out because he didn't develop a strategy for both entering and exiting, whether for loser or winner. Both those things are incredibly important. So to me, the example I will use for Kenview is I'm very disappointed in this trade and I'm much happier with this one for obvious reasons. See here, I had what I think was a B entry, but then I had an A entry after. This is right there is quite possibly the worst mistake you can ever make. Because just as I got my best entry, I'm exiting shares before I've allowed it to work. Like, it doesn't make any sense. Like, I don't like that exit point. I should be getting something out at the bottom tail of that 3-minute candle. And then even here, like, I'm getting way too many shares out there, and then I'm getting trailed there, and I'm not getting anything out at that bottom. But like here, I'm actually getting out on the curls, getting out at bottoms. And ultimately, like, that's how I always want to look at it. And Corey in the chat, Meta is not SSR. No, I mean,
from the other day.
Yeah, like it was. When we talk about the short sell restriction, if it's down 10%, that applies for the day that it happens and the following day. After the fact, it's no longer short sell restricted. The uptick rule is not in effect. It's bleeding, but it's not SSR. I believe, Vishal?
Yeah, we're just going to talk about eSignal quickly here because we want to thank them for sponsoring. We do have first month free. If you do scan that QR code right now, you grab that first month for free. And it's important because eSignal does give you the ability to entitle yourself to any single market. So if you want to, for example, trade the Hang Seng or the Nifty 50 over there in India, or some market that potentially your charting does not work for, right? I mean, there's lots of charting examples like that. Futures markets, anything like that, crypto markets, whatever, eSignal is your answer to all of that. So make sure you do scan that QR code. Great back testing availabilities. I think Neil and I focus on that a lot of the time on the show as well. So make sure you get involved with them for their back testing. And then again, over 500 symbols at one time is what eSignal can provide to you as well. So it's just an exciting platform overall. And we would say use eSignal is what Neil and I continuously show here on the stream is our eSignal. So yeah, get involved with that. And I like the stock, and I went through some of the triggers for me here, and I just have a very, very basic, some of these alerts, like if Mara, Occidental, like different things are at different levels, trigger us into that. We did get stopped on the cues. We basically picked that bottom exactly. Now it's all the way back up. So we'll hit a fail and a siren on getting that one. But yeah, join us with eSignal. Make sure you do get involved with them as well. And it's thank you for them to sponsor this segment. Okay, let's have a quick look at what the market's doing today, right? All right, so here's the market. Hey, market, how you doing? All right, Nvidia down, up right now 2%. So that's whoopsies. That's exciting there for Nvidia shareholders. As you know, we've seen some good movements happening both to the north and the south side of Nvidia lately. Nice to see them holding for today, 2%, as we did have some talk there earlier on during the afternoon about potentially some dissemination amongst should Nvidia be given those Nvidia chips or not, should China be given those. It's a nice little bounce back day here for retail, I'm noticing. Costco, again, not a play that I've made recently, but I obviously do like Costco, and you shop way too much there. But that is a nice movement there for Costco today, up that 1.77%, and a nice move there for Walmart. I'm in Target. A lot of us we've talked about that. That's down 1.4% today. So not so great for Target for me there today, but we'll see if that can come in at some point there. Home Depot has been obviously a good trade as well for many people that have looked at Home Depot during this whole sort of recovery session that we're trying to experience right now. Amazon, Tesla, transportation is at JB Hunt down there as well. There's Palantir. Oracle still can't find its way, man. I don't know what was up. We got a question earlier about Netflix. They were down quite nicely there right off the open, so not sure what was creating that, but still down 2% Netflix. Remember, I like Netflix. I think Netflix heading into that split should be something that is talked about moving forward.
It did crazy.
Yeah, didn't it go down to 1070?
1075. And then right at 1075, almost to the penny. 1075.15, it did this crazy inversion, like flat bottom break. I mean, I would make the argument that the breakdown was kind of here, but that's a wild pullback. And you would think, certainly the split's going to be a positive, but I'd rather believe, what was it, I think it's middle of November. I'd have to double check the date when it'll be effective. We'll look forward to it because I think that's going to be much more fun for us as traders. And sort of to that point, I think it was Leroy Jenkins again, sort of saying that, you find that there's only like 1 or 2 trading opportunities a day. Try to remember, when you see trading strategies done on a prop desk, that like prop trading, when you're trading companies' capital, you're going to have access to more buying power and more leverage for lots of strategies to work that might not be as viable for retail. So you have to sort of tailor your strategy to the capital that you have, the risks that you have, like all those types of things. Because there'd be certainly Like there's certain scalp trades that don't work if you have a smaller retail account. At the same time, like on a prop desk, we flat out, some days we come in and there'll be like some crazy gapper running and it's going ham in the pre-market, but it's blocked for us because the available liquidity is so low that they don't want us getting into it with the buying power that would be available because it would run too much risk. Whereas that type of a stock might be exactly what a retail person wants to grab because they just think they can get in and make like 50% or 100%, whereas that's not always the place for us. Dylan plays. I'm not seeing anything crazy in 5 minutes to imbalances, so I don't mind answering questions. Yeah. According to you, this is always fun, what price level could be a good entry to buy Meta? You know what's funny? I was just saying I don't know literally at the beginning of the show. The only level, because it's breaking down, it hasn't made some kind of a bottom setup where I can see support is held. There's been no support since earnings. So really, I just go back in the chart and say, I'll look at 625, but I'm not auto buying Meta at 625. I will buy it at some point after earnings, but it's given me zero reason to at this point. Like literally zero reason to buy Meta yet. Like you can point to the valuation and say, oh, let's get a good valuation, that's fine. And it'll be even better if it gets to 625 and puts a couple of days in bouncing off that level. And it'll be even better if it bounces off 580. So I try not to play the game of guess and rather see something, if it gets to a level, hold that level. Like look at Lulu. It double bottomed on the monthly chart at the 200 period moving average. Like it doesn't mean it's going up from here, but it's something. And I look for something that indicates a bottom. Like it decelerated and is now holding that low, which is what we wanted to see. I want to see another close. This is now another potential month that it's found a support level. Meta, it's only been a couple of days here. I think we can be patient with it. Like look at the last time Meta, or anything, I mean obviously everything in April, but that's a bad example. Let's forget about April for a second because that was just different. But if you look at when in 2024, when this lost the 50 period here, look at the bottom it made. Even if you missed that, even if you missed it at like 430, you could have bought the higher level support at 460. And then that level was there again. The stock went to 750 bucks on that upward turn. So did it matter if you had 430 or 460 when it went to 750? I don't think so. Like that's the way I try to look at it. I'm like, I know ultimately I'm not going to care when it goes up 50 to 70%, whether I got the bottom or whether I got 5% off the bottom. Who cares? But I'd rather have the higher low than the actual low almost every single time. Because the risk of having the actual low usually is not the best.
Let's go have a quick little look here at who's making all of the and we talking about prop trading versus retail trading. So these are the top 10 traders from not today, of course, from Friday here at Real Trading. So, all right, man, shout out to Canada again. These are the markets that the traders are trading, not necessarily where they are located. But we had Canada, remember, we did have the end of the month. But these numbers aren't that huge. They're pretty standard anyways. Amex, Nasdaq, we just talked about all these different markets, and yet alone, there it goes. We don't have anybody doing anything different on Friday. We do have some, here we can start looking at it. So there's a Blue Ocean, that's the over the extended hours trading there, open Sunday at 8.
Lower on Monday.
Yeah, exactly. So it'll be Sunday night. They're OTC, so that's the pink sheets. Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac, DD, BYD, Luckin Coffee, all those kind of things. CBOE, of course. They're in Canada versus CSE there in the United States. Venture Exchange, Amex, Canada. So, and then as we go lower, Hong Kong, 1200. The Turkish market right there, someone transplanted $900 there. Paris, and then LSE, Copenhagen. So that's basically just a little bit of a look there at who's making what and where over here at Real Trading. Okay, there it is. Super chat time.
Trillion Small, PhD MBA. Shout out to you. Thank you for the super chat. You've watched for 6 weeks. Finally saying hi. Well, hi to you, Trillion Small. I found you during your 4-month self-taught trader training. Planned to just watch, but caught at Sean's energy. Chased, lost, oops, but been trading since. Thanks. Yes, Trillion is your real name. I love that. That's fun, for sure. But you know what? That's sort of the thing. Like, you never want to get caught like chasing a move or chasing another trade, because like someone, like if you, like any trade that anybody is in, we're in, or somebody else, like if they're in say like, I'm just gonna make up another, say $100, right? They're like, oh, I'm getting in because of this support level, and then all of a sudden it's in the money. Like all the reasons why that trade might make sense might not make sense at 101. And that goes for pretty much anything.
You're only 1 minute now.
Like it's just how it works at the end of the day. Like you have to be, like that's why you always explain the rationality of why you're getting in and where, because that matters more than, oh, this stock I like for a long. Well, if you like it for a long and it's already bounced off that level and you're just holding it, it doesn't mean it's a good entry for somebody else. So always be wary of chasing moves, because a lot of times the exit liquidity is the people that got in early. They're looking for that chase to be the exit liquidity.
No problem, Stevenson, ETN there for all the bangers. Look, man, I mean, we all try to work as hard as we can to find the best trades for you. So thank you for shouting us out on there. With only 15 seconds left, I have that Cat's Eye song in my head there, Gnarly. I don't know why. It's a big one for the girls.
You know what I can't get out of my head?
Gnarly.
I cannot get out of our closer's entry song.
What is it?
I don't even know the name of the song. It's just, but I cannot get it out of my head.
Okay.
Oh, and balances just dropped.
Yeah, they're not doing too much here.
ETH again. ETHA.
Oh, is it on there? And Q. Oh, there it is.
We've seen a big sell on this ETH.
Yeah, strange. Ethereum there. Yeah, good point.
Shocking, actually.
Okay, yeah, that is a strange one. All right, Pfizer with a little bit of a sell. We saw some news on Pfizer, but 2 million is not going to do anything to poor old Pfizer. That's not going upside or downside. Intel continues to fall in today as that's made some move. You got some Intel on that stock or what? But there it goes down 1.4% as well. Apple down there. Yeah, actually, they did not like that imbalance, down 1%. I feel like tomorrow's going to be a short, man. This market is not participating very well here today. I don't know. I know it's up 0.2, but the trend here, I don't know. I'm not getting a great feeling. I don't know. Whatever. I'll wake up tomorrow and change my mind. But, it's looking a little short, looking a little heavy right there. Nothing really being saved at all from here. Big Bear AI is a small sell. Again, it's been downside, like down 10%. Wow, I didn't even realize that when we looked at that the first time. But again, not worried about it. Our plan is already in place for that. We've already talked about it. Kenvue, that's there as well. Meta came with a sell, so oh boy, man, that one getting lower and lower. There is Meta. We'll see how low that one can go, but that's another big mover there. Robinhood just hit my scanner. I don't know if it's moving or not. No, not doing anything, so probably just hitting one of these levels there and not doing much, and Robinhood still staying upside. But yeah, I'm not seeing that much. DD, is that, that's not DuPont. Used to be DuPont.
It is DuPont.
Oh, it still is DuPont. Okay.
Yeah.
DD upside. What is that doing? Chemicals. Oh, did they just split or something?
They must have. This has to be a split.
Yeah, I was gonna say because there's DuPont. It's not down anything.
I didn't plug in
today, right? So there it is. Nice move downside. I don't know what's up with that, but possible split there for DD. So, anyways, oh yeah, that's right. That's why Dow Chemicals or someone split it off. That's why I was like wondering about the symbol. Verizon. Other than that, not much else going on this. And then just a quick check in on Palantir. I'm just going to get out of PLTR now, guys. There's really no point in me staying in this. Let's just cancel all my offers, put out a 74. There it is. That ends the day on Palantir, $5 or so, near the highs, 202 to 207 for PLTR. That's one of my best outs. So we'll take that right there into the close and throw it over to Neil.
Yes, sir. And for too long, we were just talking about this. Trading meant risking your own money or not having enough to start. So you'd have that extra fear of losing, and a lot of traders kept on the sidelines because of it. Well, that's changing. Why? Because Trade the Pool is transforming how traders access the markets. With the limited risk trading model, traders use funded capital while Trade the Pool absorbs the downside. This allows traders to focus on what truly matters: discipline, consistency, and growth. When you hit the profit target, you keep 70% of the profits. No fear, no barriers, just real opportunities. This is the revolution of limited risk trading powered by Trade the Pool. Visit tradethepool.com or scan the QR code now to get 10% off your first evaluation. And regardless, the thing about it is,
and that QR code
of every strategy, you've got to make sure you control your losses relative to your winners, just like anything else. But certainly having access to extra capital will help you. Yeah, I was going to confirm it was that spinoff.
Right.
But there's no point. You already said it. I was going to read that one off. But it is what it is. These imbalances are pretty much a nothing burger. Like nothing came out large. And I looked over. I said like ETH was
AMD days high.
2 million is actually pretty decent. It made a very small move. That's the second day where ETH was down and then had a sell imbalance, and it moved a little bit, but not a lot. So it doesn't seem like a couple million shares is going to affect this one at the end of the day. And I did also see in the chat, if you're curious specifically about lessons on the imbalances, we do actually have a video explaining the imbalances. You can look it up on YouTube, Trader TV. It's a Trader TV Live and imbalances
Somewhere.
Yeah, trust me, it's there. I think it's a fantastic one for sure. And if you do have any questions beyond that, then just let us know. We do have specifically a video for those imbalances, everybody. And Joseph saying Amazon took all day to break support. Joey Options hating on Amazon. Well, Amazon might have broken support, but it's still up 3.5%. Why? Because OpenAI.
When Joey Options is hating on Amazon, that's it.
Well, you just said it's breaking the lows.
Joe, man, getting me upset over here.
No, I'm just, okay, fine. He doesn't hate on it. No, I like Amazon too, Joe. That earnings low was a good buy, but it did lose. It broke this, let's call it a bull flag, because that's what other people call it. This bad boy. But Amazon with that OpenAI money. Everyone gets OpenAI money, and then you get to go higher.
Andre, put that Nimrod on there.
Nimrod in the house.
Yeah, he's right here, Nimrod. 150 in CARP. We trust. You are right about that. We've trusted that guy since $9, man. Now he's up to $209, added $200 per share to the direct listed price for Palantir, and we will see what winds up happening. Good luck to my fellow philanthropists. I like that right there. So yeah, man, we love Palantir, and I don't know, like I haven't sold any of this. We got out a little bit ahead of 200, but it was literally nothing. Excited for it, but it could drop down. The expected move on Palantir is at 10%. We're looking again for news on. I'd like to see again some more contracts commercially for Palantir. See if they can get something going on that side, not be so related and relied upon the governmental contracts. I'd like to see some talk about those as well, right? That those are still pretty fruitful and coming through. What about more talk from Israeli government, Nimrod? I know that's where you're over there. They have deals there. They have deals obviously with the US government. Let's just wait to see what other kind of AI, how good their foundry is, and what they're talking about with PLTR. So really going to be an exciting report for Palantir. I mean, last report for them was a very profitable one. Remember, they were included into the S&P 500 and the Nasdaq over this past year. So just looking at what the kind of numbers that they've been putting up, right? So these are the last EPSs. You can go adjusted or not. They've been turning profit 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 or so quarters now in a row, right? The big thing that's always going to be a question mark, of course, for Palantir is when we go over here and we look at their forward PE of 250. So they're gonna put up a number. Their PE is gonna be fine, but again, it's really extended maybe on the daily again. If you're gonna look at Palantir and say, hey, when's the last time we sort of had this huge extension off of the 50-period moving average, right? Was right into here. We pulled back. That's that February dump. All stocks did that. Right into here as well. That's August. This kind of does it by itself as they went from huge move off the 50-period right back into the 50-period. So again, now we are extended past this lever, over 10% away from the 50-period moving average. A correction in this name does bring it right back into 175. So let's be careful with it. I'm excited for it. I got to go home, but Neil and Adair are going to take you into this one. So it should be Palantir's night, man. And let's just wait to see if it's going to be a happy face or a sad face for Palantir shareholders.
Well, I mean, yeah, but unless you literally bought it today or last week, like,
yeah, but people are playing options. I mean, there's more people.
No, of course, if you're playing earnings, that's one thing. But if you've been holding the stock, I don't think it does anything that like really scares living crap. But Meta, by the way, Meta broke 640, bottomed out here at 636. This is a stock after earnings that is yet to find its bottom. Not looking too good, as strong as Google and other names have looked. Unfortunately, Meta penalty box, new fresh low of the day. I'm going to head up to this. We're actually going to Adara.
Yes.
And then we'll get the bell. We'll get some Palantir at 405 and HIMS and hers.
This isn't news so much, I guess, just kind of an explanation potentially for why Ethereum was so weak today. I just saw this here on CNBC. I was looking into this earlier. I couldn't find anything. So a lot of this weakness in Ethereum is being attributed to a decentralized finance protocol, which is Ethereum-based, called Balancer. Now, apparently, Balancer lost over $100 million in a hack. So again, this hack of Balancer and the $100 million plus that were lost, that's what's being attributed here to this drop in ETH, guys. Back to you.
Okay, so that makes a little bit of sense there, as we have seen the downside push there for Ethereum coming in today, right? I mean, that was a big move. Hopefully everyone is trading Ethereum has either gotten out of it or understood the risks before, so they don't have to worry too much about it. But there it goes, man. Nimrod, everybody else, it's a chicken dinner winner for Palantir, because Palantir is right now. They are, yeah, hit the bangs, let's go. Here we go, we're riding the bull right there on Palantir. What am I even wearing there? But Palantir goes out at 207.50 right now, 207.30, maybe I'm making a call there. But Palantir going out at the day's high. Very, very excited for that one. We do have the bell only in 20 seconds. Also, I know there's gonna be a lot of Palantir talk, but there's HIMS as well. So HIMS coming through tonight there, a little bit different than Palantir. HIMS on the lows, Palantir and whatnot near the highs. So, all right, man, less than 10 seconds to go right now. 3, 2, 1, that is the bell. We are getting ready to drop these earnings. And, you know, no surprise one way or the other what's going on with Palantir, but we are excited for it here. They should be coming out momentarily. And right now, there's Palantir, 207.50, man, as we discussed. All right, it's been a big day here. I want to say a big shout out to Ramin. Thank you for that, for everything you've done. Thank you to Andre. Thank you to Fabian. Thank you to Joseph. Some guy named Sharif who's been here. Thank you to Brendan. Big thanks to Adara and of course to Neil. Let me get you over to the big desk. It's Palantir time. This is Sean. That's Neil and Adara. Go now. How about we just go now?
And here we are for the second time through. Let me just fix myself over here because it's Palantir earnings day, up 3.5% going into the big print. Obviously, people are going to be talking about the PE. Our expected move is 10%. It was only 4% last time. We're looking for 17 cents a share on EPS. Revenue, we're looking for over $1 billion. They just hit the billion mark recently. $1.09 billion is what you're looking for. We also will have HIMS, FANG, VRTX, NVTS. There's a few names as well, but 405, Palantir is the big one. Of course, they are now in both the major indexes. This has been a stock which is, let's just say it's been going for a ride. It's a triple, it's almost exactly a triple up since the Liberation Day lows, and it hasn't really shown too many signs, Adara, of slowing down.
No.
This is also one where the conference call is always entertaining with Alex Karp at 5 o'clock. So a lot to be excited for. And then, of course, the reaction tomorrow, usually pretty volatile after earnings. But we have some pretty decent expectations here. That $1 billion revenue mark, of course, it was a big threshold for them to break through.
Yeah.
But with Palantir, you have to have continued growth based on the PE. So you need that continued growth. Already making some moves here in the aftermarket, but I don't see the numbers out yet.
Yeah, this also would not be the first time that Palantir had broken above that $1 billion revenue threshold. They actually did it last quarter. And Neil, what they also did last quarter was, in addition to having that revenue grow by 48% year over year, they also had some forward revenue guidance that they raised along with Q3 2025 revenue projections better than expected. Analysts weren't even expecting $1 billion for this coming quarter. Now, again, it looks like that is going to be higher here. They guided around $1.083 billion to $1.087 billion. As we mentioned, analysts currently expecting $1.09 billion. You can find Alex Karp's face in this infographic on X at TTV Research if you want a little bit more details here for Palantir's last report and what Neil and I and all of you are eagerly awaiting tonight.
And this is sort of the idea why everyone's eagerly waiting, because I just saw The End in the chat. That is a member of the chat. I'm not saying it's the end right here. The End in the chat just said $1 billion revenue is crap for a market cap of nearly $500 billion. Well, that's the concern if you miss. It's that valuation. But valuation only matters when it matters. And a lot of times in a bull market, it doesn't matter so long as you can maintain growth. That is the big story here. It's only a couple of minutes to go. Worth keeping an eye on just perspective for Palantir here. Because if you look at that expected 10% move, the prior high was $189. You were more or less, that 10% move only puts you back into like that prior high. We're talking about the August top. You could literally have the expected move to the downside and it would be holding structure upside. That's how strong the stock has been going into it. So as I said, you know, if you're in the chat right now, you're joining us for the first time, or maybe you are and you're watching before and you're not in the chat, if you have questions, anything you want to throw in there, make sure you're a subscriber. Jump in, hit the like, hit the subscribe so you can join the conversation. Less than 1 minute to go here for Palantir. I know there's going to be other names to cover, and we can get to them a little bit later.
I'll put them in the chat, too, if I can.
Darryl will put them in the chat. We'll talk to Michael Noss a little bit after. But for now, we just want to watch out for Palantir. There have been some buyers in the aftermarket going into this, but nothing too crazy. I haven't seen anything that stood out on the tape or anybody that really got caught offside, nothing like that. But a slight upward trend as you're now actually starting to see it sell off just a little bit here. But we are just seconds away from the expected drop, hopefully not a drop, of those earnings here at Dara. Should be exciting. We'll try to get them to you as fast as possible, but sometimes we'll get top and bottom first, and then we'll get a little bit more details after the fact. So if you happen to be trading, first of all, I never suggest anyone trade after market on earnings. That's incredibly dangerous. But if you are doing that, there's a top line and must have come out because you just hit 222. Someone in the chat literally said $222. That is the high. Initial move about 14 bucks, so call that 5%, or so actually a little bit more than that. Call it 6% or so. So now 9% up on Palantir. We now have the numbers of Dara. What are they?
Yeah, I'm going to have to take some time to read through this. So all I have is really the headlines. And when I say headline, I don't mean the headline numbers. I literally mean the headline. Apparently, their U.S. commercial revenue is up 121% year over year. Their overall revenue is up 63% year over year, as we mentioned last quarter. The revenue grew by 48%, Neil. So sequential growth is getting larger still, which is nice. They're guiding Q4 revenue to 61% year over year, and they're guiding U.S. commercial revenue growth here to 121% year over year. Now, this could be concerning, Neil, because what they're guiding here for their revenue growth for those segments is either flat or slightly lower than the growth we got this quarter. That could maybe be a bit of a problem for the street. They did raise their fiscal 2025 revenue guidance to 53% growth year over year, which according to them is, quote, crushing consensus expectations. I now have the numbers, guys. Let's talk about it. EPS, 21 cents versus 17 cents expected. Revenue, $1.818 billion versus $1.09 billion expected. That is a double beat for PLTR. And again, guys, U.S. commercial revenue up 121% year over year, revenue up 63% year over year, but their guidance for those segments for Q4 are basically in line with this quarter. So they're not seeing a lot of sequential growth for Q4.
Yeah, I think that's why it was that latter part that had it falling down a little bit here, because what happened was immediately on that EPS and revenue beat, you got right to that 222 level. Love that number, but 222 level, and then you started to see the guidance. It's now pulled back in. It did give up at one point a second ago the entirety of the move, but remember, it was already up going into earnings. You already made an all-time high today. So simply, if it just holds on, you're essentially holding that all-time high. Just very quickly, I know Palantir is going ham. I'm just going to report the action on HIMS. HIMS has dropped down 7% here. It lost 44 bucks, right down into 41. So it looks like HIMS and HERS earnings also are going to be out as that heads to the downside. Adair, what are the numbers here with HIMS?
Yeah, so we've got revenue here. Oh, sorry, I just have to put up the Zoom for Michael Noss. Revenue 589. Okay, so total revenue 598.97 million. That is up on a year-over-year basis by 49%. So decent revenue growth here for HIMS. For more of these metrics, I'm going to have to read more of the report. But I have a little bit more here for HIMS. And where did it go? My feed is moving. Okay, so they did beat guidance here. Net income here of $16 million, EPS 6 cents. Apparently that's ahead of estimates, and the guided fiscal 2025 revenue between $2.335 billion to $2.355 billion. If I get more details on this, I'll let you know, but it looks like they did beat on EPS. Miss on EPS, beat on revenue for HIMS.
Well, after that drop, HIMS took a pill and went right back to VWAP, because that just went 44 to 41 to 45. So HIMS, remember the short float is pretty significant with this one, and it had been selling going into earnings. So bouncing off support and trying to go back at least to where it started was HIMS. But the bigger story, of course, Palantir, EPS beat, revenue beat, sequential growth strong. There was a small issue with the guide here, Adara, and
Yeah, I can talk about that.
when we can talk about the P and all that. I think, of course, the market's always just looking for growth. It is the guidance which has pulled it back. Like, it's starting to. When I look at the tape right now in Palantir, it's starting to rev back up again. Like, I can see some buyers that stepped in about 212 and they're taking it back to 14, but it's at about 216 bucks that's running out of steam. So for now, we're expecting a 10% move. It's up 7%, but if you were to go 10% from where we closed, it didn't really approach that number at all. 222 gives you a little bit. But now running into resistance at 216. Ever since they dropped the guidance, that's been the wall, this $216 level. Of course, the call still to come there at 5 o'clock. A lot of times you can certainly see Alex Karp rally the troops, even if it has been selling a little bit after the initial pop.
And what's interesting, Neil, is they usually will see guidance dropped a bit later. That did not happen with Palantir. It came out exactly
Right
when they released the numbers, which is why I was able to so quickly kind of assess and be like, this is probably why the market doesn't love this. So again, guidance is not necessarily bad. They're guiding Q4 sales between 1.327 billion and 1.331 billion. That is well above the estimates of 1.19 billion. But it's more the percentage of growth that might be a concern. As you can see here, this quarter revenue grew by 63% year over year. Now, last quarter, we had 48% year over year growth. So that is an increase on a sequential basis. Now, next quarter, we're guiding, and I say only just comparatively. Of course, 61% year over year growth is still awesome. But for Palantir, that is a decline on a sequential basis, which is maybe a bit rough. Now, their U.S. commercial revenue was up 121% year over year for this quarter. Now, for next quarter, they're guiding the exact same amount of growth. So we don't want to see growth stagnate. And again, Palantir is still beating estimates on all these metrics, but that stagnant growth is not really what we want from a company like this, especially. You know, I don't want to say overvalued, but a lot of people will say overvalued. And so with this, Palantir really has to wow with their growth percentage. It's sad
100%.
to see a name like this, which again, did have a really stunning report, kind of flop on something like this in terms of people's expectations, because it is still a beat on the guidance. It's just me. I think they've impressed us so much. We expect maybe way too much of them.
Well, I don't think that's unreasonable when you have the valuation up where it is, and when the valuation is at high. It's like you said. Like if you're just not growing fast enough, again, 50, 60%, those are fantastic numbers. If that slows, you will get people taking profits. And a lot of that, like there's a good portion of that just has to do where it's come from. Like this is still a stock that was liberation lows at 60. And I can tell you, I know people that were like, would you buy it down? And they were like, no way, it's overvalued when it was down in the mid to high 60s. And now it's over a triple up since then. So what do you think they feel about that PE if you're going to have a little bit of slowness in the growth? So it's one thing to think about, okay, well, maybe no one wants to buy it up here, but you've got to put into your mind, what about those that have yet to ring the register in a name like a Palantir? And not to completely ignore HIMS and HERS is now breaking out. This is sort of the thing. HIMS, there's a good portion of the story when you're talking about HIMS that you just have to consider that it can be a meme stock at times. It certainly is a stock with an over 30% short float. So this is what can happen when it bounces off support here for HIMS, which it has done, and done so rather nicely here, Dara. So what was initially a move to the downside is now being reversed, as apparently they're in active discussions to make Wegovy injections and the oral Wegovy available through their platform. And the market, likey a lot here, Dara. HIMS is now up 6% and grinding higher. It's actually up from the bottom about 15% or more than 15% from the initial lows. This just goes to show when they drop that top and bottom line, that is not the be-all, end-all of any earnings move.
Now let's Wegovy to the upside there for HIMS and HERS, that's for sure.
Well
I mentioned Sarepta, which is doing exactly the opposite. They're down 20%. Now they're actually smaller than expected loss per share. Sales beat, but they did miss here on their Essence study in SRPT, a name that unfortunately gets hit quite hard. And I only say unfortunately because of you know, the actual lives and stuff. That's actually doing quite well. Now, I know we have to go to Michael Noss, but I do want to go over these HIMS and HERS numbers one more time because I think absolutely we should do that. Earnings of 6 cents per share, below estimates of 9 cents. Sales 598.976 million, beating estimates of just over 580 million. They're guiding Q4 sales between 605 to 625 million. That is below estimates of 631.685 million. But again, as Neil mentioned, they're working apparently in active discussions to make Novo Nordisk's Wegovy available. So I guess Wegovy higher, even though this report was a bit of a crock. Chef Joe asking me to put a ticker in the chat. Guys, while we do this awesome interview with Michael Noss, I will answer any and all questions in the chat. Just tag me and I'll give you all that coverage you need. But now, I think we need to talk to Michael.
Absolutely. Our good friend here, as by the way, Palantir pulled all the way back to where we started and bounced off VWAP at 206 and now trying to regain some of the bids. So it's still dropping after that guidance. Let's drop some knowledge with our good friend, the Noss boss, and a little trader talk. Our good friend, as always, Michael Noss. Glad to have you here. I know you're always excited at the beginning of a month. Allows you to do what you do best, which is analyze some charts, analyze some monthly charts. So welcome back to the show. We talked to this morning our good friend Michael from Stats Edge. How was your weekend?
Weekend was good. Kids are still kind of working off, I think, the sugar high, going a little bit crazy. So if you hear screams in the background, don't worry, they're being tended to.
Well, I mean, I know how that goes. Hopefully the kids had a lot of fun and got a good haul, and you apply the appropriate parental tax, which I believe should always be a thing. When we're talking about tax to the market, that would usually be the pullbacks that we usually get. Right now, as an example, like we have Palantir. Palantir is sort of, I guess, a symptom of, or one of the factors of what people will call like this bullish run or the bubble that we're in. So its ability to hold on could certainly be an indicator. Like if Palantir were to go red today, you could expect it could actually bring some of the frothy names in the market back in. As we head into this new month and start this new month, is there anywhere that you are seeing any concerns of froth? I know you talked about what could hold us up for the next leg this morning. What could bring the market down to then require that next leg of strength?
It was a really interesting day when it came to, I guess, flight to quality, for lack of a better name. You know, at least early on and probably throughout, we had big sell-offs in a lot of these really high flyer names. I'm thinking quantum computers, Rigetti, and even some of the rare earth materials, and a lot of those names. Here's Rigetti down 12%, and IONQ was down with it. And it hurts me to say, but even my beloved MindMed in the psychedelic space, every psychedelic company just took a wallop today. But then you take a look at something like XLV, which is one thing that I brought up earlier for my kind of case that the market's not in an overall bubble, is that these different sectors that are, you know, more real, I guess, they're not really doing the kind of quantum computer or anything crazy, but, you know, you need healthcare companies. And that actually closed positive today. Not only positive, but above Friday's high, where if you look at the SPY, it was down or positive today, but below yesterday's high, and actually a red candle on the day. So seeing some of these kind of less interesting names, but still very important names, like we even had IWM hold on, which is your small caps, and then we had healthcare hold on. A lot of these different names doing so well makes me think that there was a little bit of, okay, let's ring the register on some of these crazy stocks that were up a whole bunch, and then let's allocate some of that money into things that are, you know, quote unquote safer, or, you know, flight to quality type names.
I think that makes a lot of sense, and a lot of people are thinking about this at this particular time because, you know, I can't even get to my house to the train is like 5 minutes, and I'll have, like, say, CNBC on, and every single morning in the last month, within that 5-minute drive to the station, every day I hear the word bubble. It's like 5 minutes, and they can't stop talking about it here. Now, what that can also mean, though, is, and, you know, stop me if you disagree with this, when everyone's looking for thinking exactly the same thing, how often is it true in the moment? It might eventually be true, but I always feel like that's the crowd doesn't usually see what's going to happen right away.
Yeah. No, I couldn't agree more. And if you look at all of the crashes through history, yes, we make movies about the people like The Big Short that saw them coming for the reason that most people didn't. And we have to kind of separate ourselves from thinking in hindsight and saying, oh, yes, it was obvious that, housing prices were too crazy and there's people with too low of income buying too big houses and blah, 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 blah. But in the moment, not many people saw that coming, only actually a rare few. And it was the same, who saw COVID coming before it was kind of right at the doorstep. And even over and over and over again, we had the Russia-Ukraine war that causes, and then no one saw the tariffs being as big as they were before that one Liberation Day. So I always try to ignore the thing that everybody thinks is going on, and in this case being this AI bubble. And I try to, it's usually that thing that it's a black swan for a reason. It's a black swan because nobody sees it coming. It's not something that really normally exists. And then from there, that's what causes the sell-off. So yeah, I'm with you that it's usually, again, the really, really rare thing. So I don't think they're going to look at it and say, hey, it's Palantir that's going to bring us down or any of these. It's going to be something that none of us are looking at right now.
Yeah, I think that's interesting because like a lot of people would say Palantir is kind of the exact type of stock that if it does show a little bit of weakness, oh, that could be the signal, that could be the top, or like Nvidia or something like that. But I want to see, can you do me a favor and we'll put on the hat that you always have on, which is your technical analysis hat? Because when people are looking at and calling something frothy, like a Palantir, like it just, the guidance, look, it just blew up from like 207, 208 to 222 at the highs and is now pulling right back in because of this guide. If you look at this stock, the degree to which it's respected the 50-period SMA on the chart has said, grit your teeth and buy it off that price every single time. But when you get to a point like this, where everyone's thinking froth, a lot of times your gut tells you to abandon that kind of a strategy because why would you want to buy the dip at a first support level? What approach, I know you're very systems-based. How do you avoid that, oh, I'm going to talk myself out of a working strategy because everything is telling me I don't like the direction that it's telling me I should make the bet?
I think it's understanding that you're going to get hit once real hard. And I'm on Twitter kind of memeing all the time about, the great cooking oil crash that we had 2 weeks ago. And, the fact that buy the dip has continued to work regardless of what's happening, whether it's, World War III talk or tariffs or whatever it is. Knowing full well that me continuing to follow my strategies that are mean reverting and dip buying and everything, that one day, my day will come and I'm just going to wake up and I'm going to get really hit. I'm probably going to lose 10, 20% of my portfolio in a single week or something like that. And you kind of just have to, I think, accept that risk going in, because the way I look at it is, I've done very well this year along with a lot of people just because the market's been doing this all year. And knowing that I would rather make the money now and then at some point have to give a fair portion of it back than the other way around. So I think for your example with Palantir, if it pulls back to that, breakout area at 190 or something like that, I think you have to take the shot and you have to just kind of be accepting of those probabilities that if you had bought every support area on Palantir for the last year, you made a killing. And at some point, the market comes a knocking and it's going to take some of your money back. And it's your job as a trader to just identify when that thing stops working. And the only way to do that is to do that once or twice and be completely wrong about it. And I don't think there's any other way around it. So it's just get ready to get your hand slapped at some point. I just don't know if it's right now or if it's 5 years from now. And if I didn't spend the next couple years buying the dips in these names over and over again, then I would miss out on all of these gains, right? I'd rather make 100% and give back 20% of those than to be the person who's just in cash right now waiting for their moment to get involved.
Well, that's about a perfect answer, and I didn't necessarily think that one was going to stump you, but I didn't know. Obviously it wasn't the topic that I think you were going to be ready to discuss. But that's perfect. Understanding that when you go to eventually at some point you buy dips in an upward trend like a Palantir, the stock has gone from $65 to $222 at the high today. And every time you've had a chance to dip, it has made you money. And if that's what you've been doing, the whole point is that you've got you don't have to do anything, but you do a working strategy until it stops working. But I believe you also said in there, every trade has to have an out, and therefore you take whatever that hit is when it's wrong. On another note here, you talked about some other names this morning that you thought were going to be pretty good and some ETFs, but was there anything that you didn't talk about with regards to market breadth, or maybe an individual name that you wanted to throw at us here as we have a few minutes left? And by the way, just for everyone out here, I want to continue to talk so you understand what Palantir is doing. Palantir has held the volume-weighted average price in 206 the entirety of this post-earnings move. Like, it broke out, it is holding the same low. And I can tell you, someone is down there at just underneath 206, and every time it dips underneath 206, it's getting bought right back up. It doesn't really go very far, but it is bouncing very, very cleanly. That chart's getting cut off. I don't know if I can do... I don't know, that chart's getting cut off there, but it's holding that 206 level for everyone out there. But was there any other names that you wanted to give to us or that are piquing your interest after a day of trading here to start the month?
Yeah, well, I've had a couple triggered from my system. The main ETF that I didn't get a chance to talk about this morning that I just wanted to look at briefly for my case about this is not a bubble is just IWM. And this is a monthly chart that goes back to 2001. And we are barely above that price. Yes, we're up like 5-6 months in a row. So maybe a little bit of a pullback is necessary. But this to me, there's only 500 names in the S&P 500. If you're using the SPY, 30% of that is all of the big cap tech we all know, and there's 2,000 names in the Russell. So way more of kind of a market breadth understanding that, again, we're just breaking out here. But some of the names that came through the system was actually a pretty good idea or follow up to our conversation there. This P-Sky was one I made a video about today. And these are the kind of names that we're looking to buy dips on with the system. And it's a good follow up to what we talked about when to know when not to buy the dip anymore. So, without giving away this entire system, but the idea is that we're looking for short-term oversold, but not long-term oversold. So, for example, a short-term, like a 2-period RSI is now oversold, but a longer-term period RSI, say like a 50, is not oversold. And what that allows us to do is to make sure that we're buying dips in strategies. But if this continues to fade, we got in around 15, it's around 15.42 right now. If this continues to fade and it gets into the 14s or the 13s, that longer-term trend then becomes oversold and then becomes weak. And then it's more conducive just to kind of stand on the sidelines. So for this particular strategy of buying dips in very strong names, what you often see is that in bullish markets and in markets like we are now, where we're almost right near highs, there's a lot of names because you're just looking for names, again, that have pulled back that are really, really strong. When the market gets really, really bearish, this strategy almost has a natural cutoff because you're not finding those long-term uptrends that you're then buying into the short-term period. So, for people who are looking at something like Palantir, it could be as simple as like a moving average or something like that, right? I'm going to buy dips in this name as long as it's above the 200-day or something like that. So make sure that when you're looking to buy dips, that you're doing so in the direction of a longer term trend. And I think that will keep you more safe than anything, because eventually you'll buy a couple dips and they'll fail. And then that longer term trend will turn neutral to negative. And then you're just sitting on your hands and you're waiting for that to kind of happen again. And for us, that's one of the things that we're doing a lot of, is looking for, again, really strong names that are pulling back a little bit too harshly over the last couple of weeks.
I'm glad you brought that to everybody out here, Michael, because we get a lot, I say this almost every time, we get a lot of questions on the show. People are looking to buy the dip on a downward trending stock. And look, if you happen to catch the bottom on something, it can be amazing. I tend to say, like, if it can break the trend at some point, that's one thing instead of trying to get the absolute low. But it's a heck of a lot easier to buy the dip in an upward trend than it is to try to pick a bottom. And I can tell you that from long experience, and I'm glad you're echoing that as well. Michael, it's always a pleasure having you on here. We love your wisdom. We look forward to talking to you on Friday as well. So best of luck in all of your trades. Hopefully we get some good dip buys on this trend that we have until the point at which this bull market decides it is going to be over. But it hasn't been for a long time. Michael Noss over there at Stats Edge, our good friend. Have a fantastic week.
Have a good week and trade safe, everyone.
Thank you. And always in the good-looking plaid too, Mr. Michael Noss, our
Yes.
good friend there, for sure. One of these days, I gotta jump in the plaid game as well, because Katina, Sean does it. By the way, I've known Sean a long time, so every now and then I don't really do it on the show much.
You don't do it much. I was gonna say it kind of was like, oh.
Every now and then I do. So like in our high school group of friends, everybody calls Sean Katina. Like we just call him Katina.
Yeah.
I've work here at the show. I always say Sean, but anyway, sometimes I slip into it. Palantir is still finding that same support here at Darren. For everyone that's coming in, they did have that beat on EPS, 21 cents versus 17, I believe, 1.18 billion in revenue. Just at the top and the bottom. But Adara, for anyone that's wondering, why isn't this thing at $220? Possibly because of that guidance.
So this is my speculation as to why, and you can read more on this on X at TTV Research. While we had Michael Noss on, and thank you again for Michael Noss being on there, I typed up a quick Palantir earnings summary, so please check that out on X at TTV Research. But the biggest thing I think that matters is, like I said, growth slowing down. For a stock like this, a company like this, you don't want to see any kind of slowing down of growth. Now, this quarter they reported 63% revenue growth versus 48% revenue growth last quarter. But Neil, they're guiding 61% revenue growth for the next quarter. So that is a bit of a pullback. Now, for U.S. commercial revenue, that was up 121% year over year for this quarter. That's obviously great, but they're guiding the exact same amount of growth next quarter. We don't want growth to stagnate, especially not for Palantir. I also have to mention a truly bonkers comment that Alex Karp made in the letter to shareholders. I haven't read through the whole thing yet, but I do have to shout out Fast Stock News on X, great account, and they posted a quick summary of this letter, including this shocking quote. So apparently, in the letter, Palantir CEO Alex Karp claims that Palantir delivers, quote, rates of return previously limited to the most successful venture capitalists. So that's wild, and I just have to shout that out. But seriously, congrats to anybody who was long this name. I know Sean had that long intraday today. That was awesome. And like a lot of people are saying in this chat, the fact that Palantir is only flat, given A, the epic run-up, and B, how high the expectations were for this, that's not that bad.
Well, that's true. Like, you have to really think about it. Like, if it's bad, they'll sell it off. That being said, and by the way, HIMS was actually able to hold on to this $47 level. So, this active discussions to make Wegovy injections available on the platform, in addition to oral Wegovy, is fantastic for them. 4% up with a big shortfall over 30%. But just to finish the thought on Palantir before we get into the rundown, we saw it with Google to a certain extent. We saw it with Amazon. We've seen it with a bunch of names that gap up and look super strong on the report. And then we come in the next morning and then they sell it off. It's one thing when you have aftermarket money telling you something. It's another thing when you have the big money during tomorrow's session tell you something. That's why we'll be here all day long, like we always are, to track that action. And the action that we got going on right now is going to be roll call, everybody, because that's how we roll around here. But if you want to be part of roll call, jump in the chat. To do so, you got to be a subscriber. See that beautiful chat that's flowing right there? It's not actually there. It's just magically put on the screen by Fabian. Ooh, love that magic. Jump in that chat by hitting subscribe. And then you can do whatever you want. You can say Palantir Army, go Alex Karp.
Tell us what you were trading today.
Tell us give us the symbol that you traded today. What was the symbol that was best for you? Or give a shout out to anybody on our fantastic team, whether it's Ramin, always Team Ram first there, Fabian, or Fabian or Andre, the midday boys, of course. We had Sharif, and of course we always have Joe, my man Sean, Brendo, Adara on the desk, always crushing it like she does. Or just pat yourselves on the back. But I want to know what symbol you were trading the most.
So do I.
I'll tell the one I had the most executions. That's what I'm going to put in here. Let's get some roll call.
Nice. Yeah, thank you to Neil, Sean, Sharif, Joe, hashtag Team Ram, Andre, Fabian, Brendan. Thank you to Mark, Rob, Randy. I don't think Randy was here today, but shout out to everybody working on this awesome renovation. Everyone you see, everyone you don't see. I think I mentioned both Sean and Neil. And I also have to mention David Treziak with a $10 super chat saying, watch the snap impacts over the next quarter. $8 billion a month on food is not the issue. It's the other spending those 42 million people do that will kick. That is a really good point. And obviously very serious issue, and thank you for addressing that just from a market perspective as well, because that will certainly be something to watch. Thank you to Big Eyes Gallagher, Save Men Women Peace, Jason Coigny. Thank you to Mike Peter Ryder, One Life to Live Together. Shout out to One Life to Live, and shout out to Brian Felipe's appearance on that show in the early 90s. D. Westermeyer, Sergio Gonzalez, Christopher, Ebb and Flow Portfolio, Kaimo, Mr. Englewood, Han, T.W. Hoskins, Stinkelberg, Mike H. Gotrats, John. We've got Olu, Adrenaline Angles, Paulo Butterbiscuit Head, Neil Roberts in the chat, Joseph Brown, Swizzler Sniper, Big 40 Nephew, Farmon, IL Tech Surgeon, Kirk D, Yorgos, and Budman. Will also shout out Palantir, HIMS, Navitas, CLX, Vertex, and Diamondback Energy. Those are the 6 big names we're watching after the bell. We have a whole bunch more reporting tomorrow morning. If you want to know what those are and the expected moves, check out Exit TTV Research. I will be reposting that infographic tomorrow morning. It's already scheduled.
And she drops the mic. Nobody can do what Adara does. Bet that.
Thank you.
But nobody can do what Trader TV Live does either, which is cover everything you need when the market is moving, as it is moving, because that's what we do around here, and we'll do it right bright and early tomorrow. We'll see you at 8:30. We'll have the aftermath of Palantir earnings and HIMS, but we'll also have Uber. That could be spicy and AMD after the bell tomorrow. We're Trader TV Live, brought to you by Beta Pro by Globex. Your market recap show is over. Have a good one, and we'll see you in the morning. Man, I love that shot. I sent the picture of that to my wife. She's like, "What the heck?" She's like, "That's kind of